Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids.
Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV and welcome to this, the 115th reply to comments video, the video in which I get to reply to your comments. The reason I make these videos is because I get a lot of very interesting comments on my channel. Being such a popular channel, there's a large number of them. Some of them are very interesting, they're well thought out. People often ask me direct questions or have specific criticisms or feedback. So therefore, I feel obliged to reply. But I don't have time to reply by texts. And you might think, well, this video is not much use, Ben. It's not a way to do it because it's, I want to reply to one comment. You post a 9-hour video. Well, you don't have to watch a 9-hour video for two reasons. Firstly, there's a timestamp underneath the comment I'm replying to that will tell you exactly when to the nearest hour in the upcoming video you need to watch. And secondly, my reply to comments videos are no longer 9 hours. They used to be, but they're a lot shorter now because I do them more often. Another reason I do these reply to comments videos, I enjoy doing them. And you, the viewers, enjoy watching them. I know that some of you watch them all the way through, which is cool. Also, the comments are precious philosophical dialogue, which may be deleted if the video or the channel get deleted. And we know that videos and channels, losing a video or even an entire channel on YouTube is hardly unknown nowadays. It's hardly unlikely. I've already got a copyright strike for reasons I have explained and no doubt we'll go into again. So the comments are a precious philosophical dialogue, and the reply videos preserve them. Stefan Molyneux also used to lament about that. And if you are on YouTube, actually, you should be able to use this should have a find function on the transcript. So you should be able to access the transcript and use the find function there. It doesn't always work, but hopefully it will. So we'll go straight over to the last reply, the last comment that was left after the end of the reply to comments video. Let's clean my spectacles. Yes, this was Marcus. So this is Over the Moon. All right, we know what this is going to be about. Marcus and everyone else who might be interested, in the very unlikely event you read this, of course I'm going to read it over the moon. I read all my comments. When it comes to television, radio and television communications, Scott Henderson simply doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, Scott's not here to defend himself, but let's see what you have to say. I'm sure you've watched satellite TV. There you are, sitting comfortably at home, receiving a signal beamed from space. According to Scott, that's impossible. Based on his claims, it would be unfeasible not only to transmit a signal to a satellite, but also to receive it in your living room. Reality, of course, disagrees. As I said, Scott will have to answer that for himself. Okay, Paul Wills says on Oxford Graffiti 13, isn't it depressing when you see discarded shopping trolleys? Yes, very. In fact, it's annoying. It's annoying. It's stupid because people just use the trolley just to get their shopping home and then they just leave it in the streets. That's how thoughtless I think most people are these days. And of course, this costs the shop a lot of money because they have to replace them, or they have to what they've been doing at Tesco's is they've been getting people to go out and find them. In fact, I used to do this. I used to be offered £2 for every trolley. Sainsbury's in John Allen Centre used to give me like £2. This is years ago, but I used to do that when I first got kicked out of hospital portering. It was one of my jobs. And you just go, the guy, they actually employ someone now to go and round up all the trolleys in the neighbouring streets. I actually try and help them myself by bringing a few back. And like I said, I used to do that for a living. It's many years ago. But they'd just give me £2 if I brought back a trolley. It was a nice, well, it wasn't an easy job because you had to walk miles, but it was okay. Yeah, it's stupid. I don't see, why can't people get their own? You can get proper trolleys of your own, which are designed for street use. These shopping trolleys aren't designed for street use. They get damaged when you drive them over pavements and things like that. Also, because they're meant for outdoor work, there's no rust prevention. There's no sort of environmental protection, so they rust instantly. The moment they're in the street, they just rust literally overnight because they're not meant to be outdoors. Stupid, honestly. Red Snapper says on reply to comments 114 YouTube. First. Well done, Red Snapper. Gold tinfoil hat to you. Another one. Goodness me. Don't wear if you're going to wear all those gold tinfoil hats out at the same time, all right, fine. There'll be a big pile of them on your head. But for goodness sake, stay away from deep water. Over the Moon says here on Apollo Detectives 12, Steve Mumbling special. My great aunt June died from radiation exposure. Oh, sorry to hear that. My mum had abnormal cells because of it too. The good news, it doesn't have to be that way. You just need to take precautions. Well, what happened to her over the moon? Did she did she work at a nuclear power plant or on a nuclear submarine, or was she a sailor on a nuclear submarine or something like that? Or was she involved in experiments? He carries on. Did you notice how the radiation video mentioned Mars? That's a far longer trip than the moon, and the race risks scale up accordingly. I know, and some of the better science fiction writers actually have this mention. Kim Stanley Robinson, for example, in the Mars trilogy, the craft that takes the colonists of the Mars, the first colonists of Mars, it has like a radiation. It has a solar storm shelter. These days, the world's gone health and safety mad. Try lighting a cigarette in a pub or driving without a seatbelt, you'll be shut down in seconds. Formula One drivers' families now sue race teams when someone dies in a crash. You can't do anything anymore without covering your backside for every eventuality. No wonder space agencies are far stricter than they were in the 1960s. Yeah, I mean, whether that also applies to astronauts. The nanny state may not quite have infected space exploration. I mean, when the Challenger disaster happened, I mean, obviously they just sort of said, "Oh, we've had a major malfunction." They wouldn't really add anything else. I don't know if any of the families managed to sue the NASA. Oxford Graffiti 13, Paul Wills. We have a Janet coach that seems to be stuck. Yes, that's right. That's poetic justice. Ben, you've got to get back out to Rachel, possibly with Colin Woolford, and spend a few nights at the Little Alien, visit the gates and do the ultimate Skywatch. Paul, that's a great idea. I mean, I'd love to. I'd love to go back there. Well, luckily, only managed to spend a few hours there, maybe 2 hours, and then had to go back. It was great to go there, but I'd love to go and let you stay there, stay at the Little Alien. Rent one of those caravans, head down the Groom Lake Road. Things like that. Yeah, maybe one day I will. Maybe that's once I get the chance to go back there, I will. You could if you really enjoy my videos, you could always sponsor them. I'm happy to accept like sponsorship. I'm not like one of these. Oh, I'm not going to have sponsorship. No, I'm not. Where am I now? If someone wants to, I'll plug I'll say, but buy this. It's really, really great. And thank you for sponsoring my trip to Area 51, my second trip to Area 51. Paul Will says, how weird was that? An Avebury stone on a housing estate. If that, yeah, the Avebury stone on a housing estate, it did look like a megalith. I mean, I forgot to ask Maria Wheatley about that. But the thing is, it may not be an original. It may be like a... I'll ask her, because Maria's been in Oxford. She's coming back. She's coming back to do some dowsing in Oxford. I'll ask her. I could even show it to her. An Avebury stone on that, yeah. It may simply be a folly, a modern reproduction, which someone put in there for fun. I don't know. I'll try and look into the history of it all. Oxford Graffiti 13. Hi, Ben Emlyn. Bemlin, as Matthew Williams calls me. I really love it when you do these Oxford Graffiti reportage. It's always a joy to see your appreciation of the artists and their artistic artwork. Thanks for that. I just love non-conformist art. You're very welcome, Paul. Thank you for that comment. I'm already working on the next one, number 14. I've already got some footage in the can for that. So yeah, but I'm glad you enjoyed that, Paul. I really think these things should be preserved. Reply to Comments 24, part 1 of 2. Oh, it's an old one, and of course it is Red Snapper, who's going through my entire catalogue. Already concerned by this, sound quality seems poor. Or was that just a fan? Now echoes in the sound. Okay, let's have a listen. Let's have a listen to this. Let's have a look at myself when I was really much younger. I'm not
percentage, but it's definitely the majority of people are psychopaths. Watch my psychopath video for more details.
Oh, dear.
It's a common thing, nothing to worry about.
Oh, yeah, it comes...
There was that, yes. Is kind of illusion.
Yeah, it's a kind of echo, isn't it?
Buzzword, this piece of rhetoric.
Right.
In the title of the course you're studying.
Right. I don't know why that is red. I don't know. It was 6 years ago. There's nothing I can do about it now. Reply to Comments 114 YouTube, and we have Red Snapper, who says, Steve mumbling, if you see this, what's your position on climate change? Oh, right. I'll be interested to know what he has to think about that. He was. What exactly is Steve's position on climate change? I'm not sure. There are, you see, yes, you can be a skeptic and still, that's the one thing the skeptics accept, disagreeing with that. Right, 114. Why don't you like wearing black? I just don't think it suits me. I'm not your average goth, and also it's much hotter when you go out in the warm weather, which may be why Rhiannon finds it a bit difficult because she is a goth. I mean, but yeah, it's very kind of like it's just uncomfortable. It makes you feel uncomfortable with the energy of it. Right, we have here 114, and we have now a timestamp here. Wow, Hugo, no way. That would be bad. You're a valuable commentator to this channel. And indeed, I mean, in a sense, the vehements have, because the vehements include people like, the Yuval Noah Hararis and Bill Gates. Oh, I don't want to replay this. I know what it's about. I don't want to reiterate that. But Hugo said something that disturbed me. And Hugo says underneath, thanks so much, Red. Not to worry, I'm going nowhere. Oh, thank goodness for that. I've got some work to do. I was ill, back on form now. See my fuller reply to Ben. I will do, Hugo, thanks. And Red says, great to hear, Hugo. Yeah. Hugo says, the district nurses visit regularly to change my dressing. When they visit, I normally put music on and sing to them. Generally, the ink spots may be. God, that's old. It's a joy to sing. This is ancient. Surely there won't be a copyright on this, man. It's so old. It's from the...
Hello, Sarah?
Surely there's no copyright on this. I'm getting paranoid about copyright these days for reasons that I'm sure you'll appreciate. Yeah, they're a band. They're like a... I don't know what style you call it. But they're from like the 1940s. They're really old. Yeah. Oh, could you not see that? There we go. This is them. Ink spots. Yeah. But you sing that to them, do you, Hugo? Maybe it's a joy to sing. Anyway, they visit. I sang. An hour later, they came back, and I didn't sing. The nurses noticed, obviously, and I thought I looked really bad and sent me to hospital. I had 3 drips on my arm for 6 days with 5 different antibiotics. I was seriously ill. Thank you, nurses, for noticing. I now think how quickly my health changes in just 1 hour. Goodness me. Hugo, you got to keep singing, man, because if you didn't have this habit of singing, they probably wouldn't have noticed. And you could have died in your own home and they wouldn't have even noticed. Oh, you got to keep this singing, man. It's like a yardstick of your health. It's if you don't do it, everyone's going to be really, really worried. Yeah. 69 Phuket says, "Lol, you've already had your youth in Asia." Hugo's travelled the world. Yeah, he's now an old guy, but he did. He admits he's old. Yeah, but he had a. Yes, he did. He went all over the world, didn't he, when he was younger? Yeah, well, it's time for well, you're making the most of it. I'll tell you. You're a dotage, if that's the right word. 114, and it was this is Red Snapper. Right, here we go. It's timestamp. Yeah, and you really should, and we're going to offer incentives for you to do so, like you get a free donut or something. Oh right, yeah. Do you remember that? What was it? A Big Mac or something for the what? J word. Yes, they were offering all kinds of things. They were all kinds of things they were offering for if you went in, if you lined up and rolled up your sleeve, they were saying, "Well, do this, do that." So there was lots of carrots and sticks during the C word thing. I mean, it's awful actually. They were. I mean, for example, they would do horrible things like they would say to football fans, you can't. You're going to need to show a V word passport before you go into the stadium. Now, some of you who are not British may not understand this, but British football or soccer, as the Americans call it, British soccer fans are some of the most fanatical people you're ever likely to meet. I mean, their club is their religion. You know, I mean, I went to a funeral of a guy who was a big Oxford United fan, and we had everyone was dressed in used colours, and the flag was draped over the coffin. The club flag was draped over the coffin. Yeah, honestly, man, yeah. So saying to them, well, you can't go and watch your club play unless you have this medical treatment, that easily steps under the Nuremberg Code. That totally steps over the line into coercion. That's an absolute breach of the Hippocratic Oath and parent and patient consent, in my view. It's disgusting. I'm so glad I stood up to them. I really am. Okay, so this is still ill. It's an old one. Wow, a date. What's this? A date? I haven't had one of those for ages.
You know, I was with her for 8 years. And you know, you can't. It's difficult to put behind you, but I did. I mean, do you know, I had a date. Did you know that?
Oh, what was that?
I never told you that, did I? I suppose I could tell you it. Basically, the reason I tell you it is because I haven't had another one, but with this person. But I did have a date.
Oh, it must have been Mrs. B.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite keen to go. I was quite keen to go on a date with this woman. Now, the woman. Do you remember me in my It was one of my Brexit videos.
Yes, Mrs. B.
I talked about how at the Brexit trail protest, there was a woman from Epsom in Surrey that I talked to for several hours. Do you remember that? Well, we kept in touch.
Yeah, that was Mrs. B. Yeah, I haven't seen her since. She actually, well, I'm not going to go into personal details, but I got very urinated off with her during the Brexit, during the actual Brexit day, and she did something which I thought was very bad, and I got pretty irritated. She's pretty nasty to me, and I broke, and she then blocked me on Facebook, and I haven't seen her, spoke to her since. So I did write to her once, just asking her if the police call, you know, after I got arrested, please could you not lie about me? That's all I did. That's the only time I've been in touch with her. And this is how it happens, isn't it? You know, this is how it happens. You know, I've not had a date since then, actually. You know, if it's partly my own fault, you know, that if I'm single, there's no point in moaning about it because it's partly my own fault. I did have, well, I'm not going to talk about that, but, you know, something has happened recently, which I'm not going to talk about. That's just Hugo.
I know very well that the conditions I'm experiencing are very minor. I mean, there's a lot of them together, but they're minor conditions. I've got a very acute awareness of exactly how much worse it could be after spending 23 years in hospital port.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't moan about my health, never. At the moment, because I've got nothing to moan about at the moment. Touch wood, you know, not so easy if you've got MI5 furniture. But yeah, I've, you know, my mother hadn't. I know people who've injured, disabled, etc. Hugo's just one of them. I know people who can't sleep at night because of conditions, you know, physical and mental health problems. I know my mother had multiple sclerosis. She would tire herself out for the entire day. Just climbing a flight of stairs would be enough to knock her out for the entire day. I know too many people who've died young in some cases, and my age or younger. And so I'm not complaining. This still ill thing was just something I happened to mention. It was like a strange syndrome I had. It was not an appeal for pity or sympathy. It really wasn't. Right, goodbye Google Hangouts. Red Snapper again. Wasn't this vile when it happened? A major plank of the Great Shuttening. Yeah, I actually don't remember this video, actually, goodbye Google Hangouts. I don't remember making it, but Google Hangouts was actually pretty cool. I quite liked it. And it's not like Skype. You know, Skype has now gone. It seems all the good things are now leaving us. You know what I mean? And of course, the Great people using the word Great Shuttening. I think it was Millennial Woes who coined it. Long before it actually happened, many people predicted that this would happen, and it's very very bad. I mean, the part of the reining in of internet freedom is getting rid of like really good free software and applications, which is what they've done. Skype is now gone. There's nothing good. There's nothing as good out there that's replaced it. There's unless you're willing to pay a bloody fortune. That's the whole point. 114 Red Snapper 814. Is there a Wikipedia box now? Of course, that's because yes, I know what this is about. And the reptilian humanoid theory. There's a Wikipedia box under this now. Yeah, and indeed it does have one. It does indeed, as you can see, as I predicted. I knew it would because I know what these people do. There you go. Wikipedia, reptilian humanoids, also known as anthropomorphic reptile-like beings that appear in mythology, folklore, science fiction, and modern conspiracy theories. There you go. I knew I'd get one of those. Right, 114 red snapper again. Timestamp. Reply to comments. Let's read it out first. I noted in the article, and I read it, said no one was sure how the turtle Rosa Luxemburg came to be named. I think I could hazard a guess. Some Marxist Oxford professor named her that. Probably because I know what this is about. Sorry, 23. What's the turtle Rosa Luxemburg? Yeah. Rosa Luxemburg was a German communist revolutionary who led what was known as the Spartacists uprising, I think around about 1918, 1919, something like that. And she was, I know because I had to research this when I was writing the Obscurity Chronicles. She was captured by what became the SS and was tortured and murdered. And her body was dumped in the canal in Berlin, along with her comrade, as much as I disagreed with her, I don't think people should be killed tortured and murdered for a political belief. I think they named the turtle the tortoise. I think they named the tortoise Rosa Luxemburg because Balliol is traditionally a very left-wing college. All the Oxford. I mean, again, Balliol. My character in the Obscurity Chronicles, Wilfred, is a Balliol student. This is set like in the World War I era, and he's like a communist. So, yeah, I mean, back in those days, Rosa was probably alive. Rosa Luxemburg, the tortoise, was alive back then. It's very sad that the Bullingdon Club killed her. It's disgusting, actually. And Boris Johnson was involved in that, and David Cameron. Yeah. 24. There's reply to comments 24. It's an old one. Part 1 of 2. Red Snapper. Was Most Haunted your favourite show about paranormal despite the fakes? No, it wasn't. I think Ghost Detectives was probably the best one. I'm not saying that because, of course, the presenter Ross Hemsworth is a friend of mine. But it was Ghost Detectives was firstly there were no fakes in it. I mean, Ross insisted on that. Secondly, it also had Chris French, who I also know, and a medium called Mia. I think that was a good one, Ghost Detectives. That was much better than Most Haunted. Less famous, but it was much better. Reply to comments 114. Have you been to the Giant's Causeway? No, I'd love to go there. I've never been to Northern Ireland, never. I've been to Éire, the Irish Republic, and twice. I had some lovely holidays there, but never been to Northern Ireland. My dad's been there. But yeah, the Giant's Causeway it's remarkable. I mean, the thing is, I'm unlike the skeptics. The skeptics will say, "Well, it's natural, Ben. It's natural." I'm not pretending that's not natural. It's actually the Giant's Causeway is formed by natural forces. It's basically the cooling of lava in when there was a volcano there millions of years ago. Lance Corporal, hello Lance, how you doing? Occasional participant. Reply to comments 114. I still find this method of responding to comments very novel. In the future, could you start adding video chapters for the video you're responding to? If I can find an easy way to do it, Lance, I'm not like a Zoomer like you. But I think the method I got is pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I mean, as I said, there was a transcript function on YouTube. You don't get that on all tech. But yeah, I mean, if there's maybe I'll talk to you about it. Still ill again. Red Snapper's got another comment on still ill. That's pretty good for such a short video. Was this dare we say it? Was this dare we say it? What's this?
Came back. Can you see me all right? Should be. I'm visible. Yeah. It just came back like it had never been away, and I was like, oh God, what's wrong with me? I don't remember having this kind of illness. Yeah. Where it's a kind of flu-like symptoms.
Yeah, I had a series of different conditions, and most of them have gone away. There's one that's still with me, which is annoying. But, most of it's like, it went away, but for a couple of months, I was ill in many, many different ways, in lots of different kinds of illness. And I suspect, I might have been under some kind of psychic attack. Reply to comments 114 YouTube. Good reply to comments. Thank you very much, Red Snapper. Much appreciated. Still ill again. Oh. Oh, right. This is wow. Did you ever train for healing? Did I ever train to be a healer?
The hands are on you, and the hands are very hot. The hands are really hot. And one that...
No, and in fact, some people suggested I do that. Somebody actually suggested I'd make a good healer at the Spiritualist church. This is before I stopped going to the Spiritualist church. I actually stopped going there. Their policy on the C word was pretty awful. They started insisting on V word passports long before it was even, and indeed PCR tests and things like that, and certificates long before it was even law. And I thought I know a lot of old people go there. I understand that, and they want to keep them safe, but I don't believe that collaborating with a big brother state is the answer. 24. This is reply to comments 24, another old one. Red Snapper. Doris Day also replaced? Not heard that one. Will you do a video on that one? Doris Day replaced.
Okay. Billy Shepherd says on Is Paul McCartney Dead?
Billy Shepherd. Paul, who is
Doris
Paul?
Day was also replaced. The real Doris died in 1955. Compare for yourself.
Really?
The Beatles met Doris Day's son in 1966.
Seriously? I don't know. Let's have a look at some pictures. Doris Day, American actress and singer. Let's have a look at some pictures of her. She was a nice-looking lady. She had a very good good voice. Let's have a look. Born 3rd of April 1922, Cincinnati, Ohio, USA. Died 13th of May 2019. Oh, she's pretty old. 97 years old. Carmel Valley, California, USA. You're saying she actually died in the 1950s and was replaced. Well, that's her now. Whoever that is, that's her now. Bless her. I can't see different. I mean, obviously it's difficult to know. I'd have to look into it some more. For example, there's an old black and white picture of her, and that's her. Those two are obviously the same person. This one and this one and this one are obviously the same person. Probably, I mean, you can see she's about 20 years older here. But they're obviously, I think they're the same person. Oh, she's quite old. I'm glad she lived a good long life. Died quite recently. Still ill. Wow. So did it help? Says some Red Snapper. Oh, the healing, it did actually. Yes, the hands-on healing did help. So far it has always worked in one way or another. Yeah, there's one condition I've still got lingering, which is a pain in the ass, but it's not terribly bad. It's something I can live with. Reply to comments 114 YouTube. Paul Willis said, "Thanks, Ben. Another great reply to comments. Cheers, mate. Looking forward to your next reportage." You're very welcome, Paul. Thank you very much for watching. Reply to comments 13. Oh, no. This is a new one. Video ban 13. Oh, video ban 13. I've got reply to comments on the brain. Dow, damn, I love that video. Will you appeal? And as he says here, no, you won't. No. Thanks, mate. Thanks. But Red Snapper, the video is still available, as I explain. You can watch it on Alt Tech. And as you're aware, I've just uploaded an edited version with all the copyright material removed. It's about half the length. And it's not as good. It's actually... I wasn't sure whether even to upload it once I'd finished it, because I thought this is just stupid. But I did simply as an act of defiance against the person who I think very unfairly gave me a strike. Reply to comments 24. 1 of 2. Red Snapper. I find that hard to believe, Ben. Lol. What's this? What's this then?
And unthinkable. Now, climate scientists are human. Climate scientists have rent to pay, like everybody else.
They are human, yes. Probably reptilian. People don't have to be reptilian for any of this, Video ban 13. Tune, says Crafty Nihilist. Yes, this is my video banned videos, I always provide the music myself. And it's making a joke about the whole copyright thing. Do you remember I was making a joke about me singing in the shower and getting a copyright strike for that? So I decided, well, I will sing, not in the shower, but I just compose my own brief songs and I perform them for these videos. Yeah. One song to the tune of another. BBC4. Right. This is Hugo Roon, who has a YouTube. There's a YouTube thing here. What's this? Okay. The best one song to the tune of another. Oh, right. Oh, I like. Sorry.
I'd like you to start, please, by singing the words of a white.
Oh, I like these. This is Willie Rushton, 11th of November, 1995. These are funny. A whiter shade of pale to the tune of My Old Man's a Dustman. Yeah, I love these. Are really funny. These are. Well, these. You know, there was one for. I won't. Maybe I shouldn't play it because of copyright. But there was one. I'll sing it. One. Someone was saying, "Could you sing? Could you sing the tune of sing the lyrics of John Lennon's Imagine to The Sun Has Got His Hat On?" And someone said, "Imagine all the people living for today. It's good, no possessions, no religion too." And it was really, really funny, man. It was really funny. Here we go. Red Snapper. It's still fair use. This is on video band 13. Because you broke it up with your commentary. This guy does not know what he's talking about. I did claim fair use on it for a specific context, but maybe you're right. Maybe even without that specific context, it's still covered by fair use. Not least because it itself was free distribution. It was his creative work, but he distributed it freely, and I distributed it on freely. In other words, my channel's not monetized. I made this point in my letter to him. So in a sense, I'm actually amplifying him. That's all I'm doing, is amplifying him. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that's actually maybe you're right there. And even without the specific context, there's not a problem. And we have video band 30. Oh, we got our wow signals person. 6EQUJ5. I don't know how many people. Some of you will know what that means. I mean, Crafty Knowledge knew that on the live stream, doesn't it? 6EQUJ5 is the code on the printout of the wow signal. Yeah. 114 Hugo Roon. Onward. Your reply to Red. Eking out a living. Oh right. What's this? This is a timestamp here from Hugo Roon. A lecturer. Yeah, and what I can imagine happening, Red, is that I'd probably end up doing kind of like a lot of today's very active conspiracy theorists. We probably will become some kind of historian. Yeah. Oh yeah. I imagine we will be lecturing and writing about the transition. Yeah, this is when we were talking about basically onwards to apply eking out a living. Yes, I suspect that if I live into the post-Illuminati world, that's what I will do. I will be. That'll be my role, probably. I mean, all of us woo-woos today will probably be some kind of historian and lecturer or, presenter of the history of the end of the New World Order and things like that. I'll probably be going around schools talking to kids and things like that. Things like, I could manage that. I could live with that. I think it's better than playing golf, isn't it? Right, so 24, reply to comments 24, and Red Snapper says, John Smith, who died very conveniently to let Tony Blair come in, didn't he?
John Smith. Whilst I sympathise genuinely with anybody suffering an ailment,
no, that's the
there are no comments here from so-called friends and YouTube regulars who view you as such that have highlighted a very obvious issue that has nothing to do with hypothetical black magic et al. The one issue is clearly a significant obesity issue, which gets worse over time in relation to the things coming to a head.
I don't remember who John Smith was, but I can guess he's one of these wise guys that sometimes turns up and still turn up on my channel. There's a few of them in the comment section today. 114 Hugo Roon, re Paul McCartney, spot on, Ben, free speech. And there's a timestamp here. Let's have a look. If they reveal the truth about Paul McCartney's death, would you support laws preventing people from saying he's alive? No, I believe in free speech. Yeah, that's exactly. It has to be unconditional, Hugo. Free speech has to be an unconditional thing. It does. So thanks very much. I'm glad you appreciate that too. My Pussycats. Oh, this is an old one. All the cats RIP now? Question mark. I think considering the length of time this video was made, yes. I mean, I haven't seen them since I left that house, which was when I left that house 14 years ago, so I imagine that based on the average life expectancy of a cat, which is about 15 years, I doubt any of them are still alive. But they had a good life. They had a good life. Definitely. But yeah, my pussycats, it's a video I made a long time ago. Funnily enough, I actually picked up a die-hard fan from that video. I really did. Reply to comments 24. Oh, Red Snapper says, right. What category? Oh, I know what this is. This is about psychopath, empath, stuff like that.
Look at the way, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, you've got to face facts, BZ. Neptune's right here. The majority of people in the world, I don't know the exact percentage, but it's definitely the majority of people are pseudopsychopaths.
Yeah, oh right, yeah. I don't know if you heard that because there's so much echoing. I said the majority of the people in the world are pseudopsychopaths, and that's true. And he says, what category do you put yourself in, Ben? Pseudo-psychopath or empath? I'm an empath. Yeah, so am I. In fact, I did a video about this. I did an article. There's a very interesting article about this. Where is it? Empath. Where is it? Here we go. The empath test. Here we go. Here's the here's a list of questions you've got to ask. I don't know if this bloody thing is still active now. This website. Yeah, it's still active. A little spark of joy, and it gives you you've got to take a test. Where is it? I don't know where it is now, but you take a test, and they ask these different questions here. Maybe we should do a video about this. But here's my test results, and I scored 15. And it says anything above 8 yeses means you're above average on the empathy scale. 15 yeses puts me very high, what the author calls hyper empathic. So yeah, I'm a hyper empath. Yeah, I'm glad you are too as well. I'm glad you are too. The more empaths in the world, the better. Oh, we got a long thread here now, and it's Paul Klansman. Sorry, Paul Klansman. Sorry, video ban 13. He finally, he finally woke up, meaning skeptic of the North. Unlike most viewers of this channel. Yes, he was a woo-woo like me, and then he became a skepper. Yeah. It's not intelligent and shows a total lack of critical analysis to believe most conspiracies you come across. Well, I disagree, Paul, for reasons I've explained basically on this channel. How can you and other conspiracy enthusiasts, quote unquote, not see that the vast majority of speakers at contacts in the desert are scammers or charlatans? Charlatans with a capital C. With respect to this video, you show an immature, childlike behavior, not to respect the request removal of this video. Does that make you feel good? You are behaving like the bully, not him. Show some decency instead of whinging about it. Show some decency instead of whinging about it. All right. Obviously, I disagree with the first part. Like I said, I think it doesn't show a lack of critical analysis to believe these conspiracies. The speakers at the contact in the desert are mostly not scammers. There are a couple I don't trust. Most of them are not scammers. I met them. I got to know them very well. Some of them I consider friends. They are dedicated, true enthusiasts, and they really believe. Whether you believe they're right or wrong, they do, and they're doing so sincerely. And you think my refusal to remove the video is childlike and immature? No, I don't think it is. I never said that Skeptic in the Pub was a bully. Sorry, Skeptic in the Pub. Skeptic in the North. I wouldn't describe him as a bully. That's too strong. But he did essentially issue me a threat. He requested it, then said, before I go down the copyright route, meaning do this or I will strike. I'll put in a reply. Now, I'll put in a copyright complaint and you'll get a strike. Okay, so that is a threat. Now, as I said, I didn't say he was a bully. I said that when I was at school and I got bullied, I used to stand up to the bullies, and sometimes I'd get like a bloody nose, I'd get like a bloody nose or a black eye, and they just take whatever they want. They take my money or sweets anyway. But I still felt better that I hadn't just given in and handed it over to them. All right, so I don't think I'm behaving like a bully. I told him I do not wish to, for the reasons I explained in the video. I think it's not right for me to remove this video. I think I don't wish to do it, and I won't do it willingly. That's what I said. And I stand by that. I stand by that. As you know, I've now uploaded a replacement which has all his copyrighted material removed. I think I have shown decency. I was polite to him. I was respectful. I explained why I was doing it. I explained to him. I said, "Look, this is you were absolutely happy with me. You were perfectly happy with me to do this originally. You've changed your mind in the last 2.5 years, and I don't think that's fair. Also, you know, my channel is unmonetized. I'm not making a single penny. I'm literally just amplifying your content. You didn't provide me any explanation except I just want to leave this stuff behind me. Well, he can't leave his stuff. He can't leave what he did online behind him. He's left an internet footprint that he can't delete. And if I was him, if I was in his position, I would just shut up about it because he needs to learn about the Streisand effect. The best thing you can do now is stay quiet about it, and this will all fade away eventually. And Neil says here, Ben had done a critique of the video and gave a review of it. Thank you, Neil. The video created acting like a diva pop star or upset politician asking for bad reviews or anything about him to be erased. Yeah. It's like Ben being issued a gagging order. The fact that the Skeptic of the North was okay about it being reviewed 2 years back, but has now gone sulking over, shows he's the immature one. Thank you, Neil. Yeah. Paul Classman says, Ben is not a journalist. Well, I don't pretend to be. I'm not like an official journalist. I mean, I'm not like Terry Joyce, who has a qualification and a press card. I do similar things to her though, but I do it in an amateur way. In any case, the right thing to do would be to respect that person's wishes instead of behaving like a belligerent teenager. I have absolutely nothing against Ben, but I do call out BS when I see it regarding the UFO scammer industry and conspiracy preachers in general. It must be a sad life devoting so much time and energy to this nonsense. If there was proof, that would be something, but there isn't. Wow, okay. Well, look, you can say whatever you think, you can say whatever you like, whatever you think about me, all right? I've got a pretty thick skin. I was a hospital boarder for 23 years. I won't be offended if you are critical of me. And feel free to call out what you believe is BS regarding what you call the UFO scammer industry. I don't think is. I think there is a scammer industry, which I am as critical of when I agree with the critics. People like the aforementioned Terry Joyce, Stephen Cambion. When I and more recently to Jinder Gill, and Darcy Weir also has now decided to take on these people. I think most of the people those people criticise deserve it. Yeah, definitely. Well, not so much Cambion maybe, but certainly Darcy and Terry. So I would call them. I call them out too when I see them. I mean, I don't focus on it as strongly as other people do. I'm not like I don't like devote complete dedicated works to simply explaining how somebody is a scammer. Not least because other people have done it. I think I'd rather focus on the real stuff, but I don't pretend these people are real when they're not. It's you think I've got a sad life. I don't have a sad life because it's not nonsense. And you said if there was proof, that would be something, but there isn't. Well, I think there is evidence, you see. You disagree with that. Well, I disagree with you. And Paul then goes on to add another article here in reply to Neil. One more thing. Ben goes on about skeptics. That's absolutely laughable. In the real world, if you make a claim, you must present evidence and not hearsay nor opinions. Hearsay is one word, Paul. Science doesn't work on opinions or beliefs. Unfortunately, most folk in your community have no idea what constitutes actual evidence. All the daft conspiracy like flat earth, chemtrails, moon hoax, all of them have been debunked with ample evidence. Your ignorance and wanting to believe in something doesn't make it true. All right, I feel like I'm dealing with like David Smith here. Honestly, I go on about. You say I go on about skeptics. I have an analysis of the skeptic movement, which comes out in several videos that I've done, including a very successful live lecture. I agree with the next bit. In the real world, if you make a claim, you must present evidence. Yes. And you say science doesn't work on opinions or beliefs. It shouldn't, but very often it does. And the thing is, it's the skeptics and scientists themselves who often don't spot it. And you say most folk in my community have no idea what constitutes actual evidence. Well, there are many who don't know, but I think I do. And the reason I do is because I discuss it with people like you. And you say daft conspiracies. You list flat earth, chemtrails, moon hoax. Okay. As far as the flat earth goes, I agree that is daft. But the other two, I think, have not. And they've not all been debunked with ample evidence. And wanting ignorance and wanting to believe doesn't make it true. Correct. But evidence does make it true. And unlike you, I think that evidence exists. Crafty Nihilist says, rude. Most viewers of this channel. How many of you met? And aren't you currently a viewer? Yes. I said most, not all. Don't even bother. You were being unnecessarily rude. Now that's immature. Yeah, Crafty, it makes me laugh when these skeppers keep showing up and saying, your channel is disgusting. I despise it. It's awful. Oh, I said, you watch it. You watch every damn thing I upload. You watch it all the time. You're obviously getting something. You're obviously gaining something from it, aren't you? Paul says to Crafty, I don't need to meet them. I can read. I simply point out nonsense and BS on certain topics. I am suitably qualified to talk on many of these topics. Unlike any of the folk preaching misleading BS. I subconsciously gave him a Steve mumbling voice there. If you wish to be gullible, that's your prerogative, but then you will stay ignorant. I get it. Some of you would rather believe in something more interesting than your everyday life. I, on the other hand, will not believe anything, but would rather know what's true and not true and what's sheer fantasy. Oh, you hero, Paul. You absolute brave hero. You MBA. MBA. Well, this is kind of it's not pure MBA, but it's kind of what he's just said is kind of an adaptation on the whole MBA thing. If you find that rude, then you choose to be offended. All right. Well, there's so much rhetoric here. Okay, if you think you're qualified to talk on these things, fine. You are doing that. You are talking on them. Go ahead. I don't think nobody wishes to be gullible, all right, and ignorant. None of us wish that. We just disagree that we are, just because we disagree with you. I get it. Some of you rather believe in something more interesting than your everyday life. This is a common skeptic trope. Well, it's summed up by Lisa Simpson in The Simpsons. She's reading Junior Skeptic magazine when Homer thinks he's seen an alien. Spoiler: it's really Mr. Burns. Do you remember that episode, the one with Mulder and Scully? And can't remember the name of the episode. Yeah, in Junior Skeptic magazine, she says it says here that the chances of aliens visiting us are almost zero, and that all the people who believe in them and think they've seen them are pathetic losers with boring jobs. Oh, and you, Dad. So Homer, of course, makes a mistake in that case. But yeah, that's an old skeptic trope. But again, does that explain how? All right, I'm a working class guy. I have low conventional status. Not that bothers me because I was a hospital porter, and as you know, I think hospital portering has high status, even if it's not conventional. But the point is, there are sort of like people who are much kind of more pillars of the community type people who believe in this BS, misleading BS. All right, how about Richard Dolan? He was shortlisted for a Rhodes Scholarship here in Oxford. He actually studied here. I never met him, by the way. I was only a little kid in those days, but he was here as a student in Oxford, studying history, politics, and stuff like that. He could have had a very, very lucrative conventional academic career. Very, very well indeed. Okay. But he chose to believe in this BS. Yes. Crafty says to Paul, no, you need to meet someone to know them. Don't be silly. Some of you, quote, unquote, gullible, unquote, and know them. Yeah, you need to meet them and know them. Don't be silly. If, for example, you knew us, you would know we are skeptics, but really enjoy Ben's content. Because we know him personally, in real life. We're not keyboard warriors, unlike some people who claim they can know a person by reading them. Daft and rude. Thanks, Crafty. And of course, we did meet, didn't we, just a few days ago? And we're going to meet again, I'm sure. Paul says here, All right, Paul is not to be defeated easily. He says, I have actually met these people. I met them at an all-day David Icke event at the Manchester Alternative UFO Conference. Well, you went to a David Icke event, really? Wow, when was that? When did David did this thing in Manchester, didn't he? Yeah, I never went to it, but this bloke tried to get him shut down. Yeah, bunch of nutters, a lot of them. But what's happening now? Hang on a sec. I'm just getting paranoid about my. Oh, let's have a look. Is that still working? Yes, it is. All right. A bunch of where are we now? A bunch of paranoid nutters, a lot of them. Everyone thinking they're privy to occult knowledge when that they're smarter than everyone else. It would be hilarious if it wasn't so tragic. All right. Well, I didn't know you'd been to a David Icke event, Paul. I'm as for your opinion, everything else you say here is just rhetoric and your personal opinion, which I'm not qualified to comment on. You alone are thereof. And then Paul says, he has another comment here. Just one example I could give. These conspiracy enthusiasts listen to and believe people like Mark Steele, who claims to be an expert on all things microwave and DEW, directed energy weapons, when in fact he knows nothing about the topic. He lies through his teeth and has been publicly called out as a fraud. The only thing he's got that most of us don't is a criminal record and prison time for. Or I'm not going to actually say that, Paul, because I think there was an appeal going on at the moment, the actual offence he was convicted of. So I'm not going to say that. Then you have all the big names in conspiracy land quoting him, inviting him to speak about the deadly bunch of 5 grapes, death beams. Again, there's things you can't say. I would say that you couldn't make it up, but these people do indeed make it up. The same goes for the liar and conman Barry Trower. Then there's chemtrails. Chemtrail is one word. Enthusiasts and flat earthers and moon landing deniers, fraudster Linda Moulton Howe, and many others scamming the gullible. I needn't go on. Then please don't, Paul. All right. I don't know much about Mark Steele. I've met him. Barry Trower I've never met. I know that they talked about the bunch of 5 grapes. I can't comment on them, but I don't believe in the flat earth, okay? Linda Moulton Howe is not a fraudster. Linda Moulton Howe has been a dedicated UFO researcher for a long time. I met her for the first time, actually, at Contacts in the Desert, and it was really great to meet her. She made people aware of the whole mutilation thing. I know she's made some mistakes. I know she has made mistakes, but if she was a fraudster, firstly, she wouldn't be communicating with people, her critics. She wouldn't be in email conversations with Stephen Cambion, which she was. And secondly, again, if she wants to make a fortune, there's easier and quicker ways to do it. Paul Klansman then says here to the crafty knives, I thought I replied earlier, but I can't see it here, so I'll briefly write it again. All right. Well, thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much for not accusing me of deleting your comments, because that's what a lot of people do, and it pisses me off. So I appreciate you not accusing me of that. YouTube does occasionally just delete comments. I mean, it's really annoying when they do that, but they do. Or they just disappear for no reason. They're not deleted actively. It's just they disappear into the system. I've met a number of conspiracy enthusiasts and at an all-day David Icke talk and a silly alternative UFO conference in Manchester several years ago. All right. Was that one where that bloody Solomon guy was having a go at him? Here we are. Solomon. Here we are. Yes, it was this thing here. That twat Marlon Solomon was having a go at him. Here we go. Is David Icke dangerous? Half chips, half rice. This is his blog. I won't click on it here, but forget the lizards. David Icke is a fascist, and here's a screenshot of it. David Icke is dangerous, and it's time we started taking him seriously. I actually went to this guy's talk in Oxford, if you remember the video I made of it. yeah, this guy's he's a really dishonest and very paranoid piece of work. He really, really is. This may have been the one you went to, Paul. I don't know. It was full of gullible people sucking it up and ready to believe anything. It was almost humorous, if not so tragic. I wanted to see what it was about before passing judgment. Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad at least you went to look at it before passing judgment. That's more than some people do. But you know what? I mean, I don't think you're being fair. I still don't think you're being fair here. Gullible people sucking it. This is rhetoric. There's a lot of anger in here. You remind me of the late great Beats Art, yeah. But there you go. I don't agree with you. I mean, again, I can't really comment on your opinions. Only you can do that. But I think you're being unfair to my community. Video ban 13. Third, says DJ B2. Well done, DJ. Bronze tinfoil hat on its way to you. Reply to comments 24. And we have here Steve Red Snapper saying here, a rare bit of wooism from Steve Mumbling. Laugh. Let's have a look. What's this?
And what he said and why he said it. Anyway, Steve carries on. As far as your lingering illness goes, there's an old remedy called colloidal silver that may help. I've heard about that. Yeah, I've actually got a bottle of it somewhere. I had a sore throat that just wouldn't go away. Someone at work suggested colloidal silver. I got some from a health food shop and took a swig before I went to bed. In the morning, the sore throat had gone. I mentioned this to a colleague at work, and he tried with the same results. So they're the three of us. The stuff worked. Perhaps it was a coincidence, and our sore throat and cold.
Well, yeah, that is very.
Perhaps it did.
That is very open-minded, Steve Mumbling. I mean, this is a long time ago. I mean, I don't know if he still feels that way. I don't know. All right, 114 Hugo Rune. Red Snapper says, I don't smoke weed. That's why I always pip Hugo to the post. I am pissing myself, laughter. Red Snapper, thank you for the laugh. I'm happy to accept that it is a pleasure conversing with you. Ah, put the spliffs aside for just one day, unquote. Just been in hospital for 6 days, no spliffs. The first thing I did when getting home was to have a spliff, then started responding here. Now on my third spliff. Me? Stop? No chance. I'm a happy chappy. No spliff icons available. Edit. On my arrival home, my carer arrived to do her job of washing my naked body. Then she says, go ahead, have a spliff, relax. My goodness me. Hugo, you found the perfect woman. Edit 2. My carer is from South Africa, a beautiful black lady. Very good friend to me. Oh, wow. That reminds me of the New Statesman. Was it Alan Bastard, Rick Mail's character? He goes, "You've never had a really hot black woman all over you, have you, Piers?" Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you're back I'm glad you're back home where there are like South African beauties and spliffs and things like that, mate. I'm glad you're back home with that. So well done there. I'm glad she's the kind of person who won't just say, oh, "I'm reporting you. You're not allowed to do that. It's against the law." I'm glad she's not one of those people. My mum was lucky enough to have a GP who's like that because, as I said, she had multiple sclerosis, which can produce similar symptoms to your condition. And the GP actually said to her, if you marijuana is probably the best thing for that. Oh, by the way, I never said that. If you tell anyone I told you that, I'll deny it. But yeah, she was lucky enough to have a good GP as well. So nice one, Hugo. Well done. Good for you. Video ban 13 first, says Red Snapper. Well, it wasn't. You were nowhere near first this time, Red. Red says, same video. You should have agreed, but put it on private and made it visible a few months later. No, because that would be the same. I think that would be pretty much the same as deleting it. That would be like the equivalent of handing them. To use my school bully analogy, and I'm not saying Skeptic of the North is as bad as those bullies. He's not, but that would be the equivalent of, all right, here you go, have the money, and then when his back's turned when we go for school dinners, just picking it back out of his pocket. I'd rather be a bit more upfront than that. I think so. I'm glad I didn't do that. 104, Red Snapper. All right, this is a red quote. I'll actually click this as a timestamp. Oh, here we go. 1 hour 44:50. Oh, it's not quite complete. The comments for him are as valuable as the videos because it's a record of amazing dialogue and just discussions. 1 hour 44:50. All right. And when he lost his YouTube channel, they were lost forever. But back a bit. If that happens to me, which is not on live stream from here. Red Snap says, "I am the Alpha. Hugo is the Omega." All right. Yeah. So I am the Alpha. Hugo is the Omega. Sorry, I can't stop laughing. 114. Electric Universe is a timestamp here. I studied that. I'm happy to accept it. I agree with Nothing's comments. That's nothing as it seems. No BS. I'm not a scammer. Who are we scamming? Edit. I was a telecoms engineer pre-accident. Worked in 20 countries, lining up microwave dishes, very large dishes. That's right, Hugo. You were telling me about that was your job, wasn't it? Yeah. Densed a load in a galactic circuit of Birkeland currents. Power is applied externally from the plasma environment. Yeah, that was yeah, that's true. Yeah, so you know a lot about this sort of thing as well. Yeah, and with the Walt Thornhill, I don't know if he's still alive. I met Walt Thornhill. He was at Weird 10, and Sue, my partner at the time, she bought like his book, and she really got into that book. I think Sue was actually a very obsessive person. She was a bit on the spectrum, I think, and once she got an interest in something, she literally could like not look away from it. And she would just sit there, just studying continuously, which means he could become virtually an expert on almost any subject she wanted to. During the 2012 phenomenon, it was quite amusing because we went to the Archon in Bath, and Jeff Stray was there, and we went for dinner afterwards, and she was like talking to him on his level. She's really gone through the whole thing, John Major Jenkins, and what's that other guy? I can't remember their bloody names. Jeff Stray, I've previously mentioned. All these other, like 2012, Patricia Corey. It annoys me when I can't think of a bloody name. Okay, let's have a look. I'm going to look up this bloody name. It really annoys me. Yeah, Jose Argeles. He died the same day as Elizabeth Taylor, the actress. Okay. She went into all that, yeah. Reply to comments 24, Red Snapper. 2018 and 19 was a tough year for you. Major troll attacks and this constant illness and cough. Not surprised you thought you were a TI. It was, Red Snapper, yeah. And I do believe there may well have been a connection. I mean, it could simply be the stress of it. Maybe the stress of it was getting to me. So I'm sure the skeptic will say, well, that's all. Well, that's kind of the stress was the real cause of it. The skeptic would say. However, a lot of these trolls, they do get into black magic and stuff like that. There was a really horrible incident actually, where someone on the old David Icke forum, they did carry out like a black magic attack on one of the other members, and it did make her very ill. She almost died. A skeptic would say that's a coincidence, but I'm not so sure. Hugo Rune says, "Oh right, the ladies. Oh, watering the ladies. I remember this comment. I'll just click it just to remind you, but I remember it. This one, yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, I know what you mean by your ladies. The things you turn into things you put in a tin. I know. Oh right, yeah. Hugo says, no. The ladies I was referring to are my carers. But yes, there are ladies in my garden too. Oh, I see. Because I thought you meant the cannabis plants, because everyone knows, hemp. It's the female hemp that creates like the THC and CBD. Like people. This is why this idea comes from, that George Washington was like a dope fiend, because he only grew like the female cannabis plants, and so he couldn't have been using it to make rope. He was using it to basically get the THC and CBD. So he was a sky hyatrist, just like Hugo Rune. Reply to comments 13. Maybe Skeptic of the North has become a woo again. Oh my goodness me! Now that'll be a turn up for the book. Oh my God, I've gone over time. Right. Skeptic of the North goes full circle. Can you believe it? Oh my goodness me. I hope so, Neil, because that would just be really, really funny. Anyway, I'm over by 4 minutes, so I'm going to end this recording. All right, guys, back for hour number 2, video band 13. Neil Peel Paranormal Peep Show says here. Hey Ben, can you if you send us, could you send us the band Skeptic of the North video and we can upload it to a newly created channel? Right. Oh, Neil. Well, you know what? I would say I could send you the video anytime. I have it. In fact, as I said, I'm going to upload it to an unlisted cloud. It is on Alt Tech all the same, and I'll send it to anyone who wants it. It's only like about 0.5 gigabyte. It's not very big. I would recommend not uploading it to your channel. The reason is because he may target you for a copyright strike as well. So I recommend not doing that. But if it's up to you, I'll send it to you. You can do whatever you like with it. Feel free to upload the edited version if you like as well. It's up to you. Right. Capel Green Premier, Betty Claw Wallace. Hi, Betty. New viewer, new commenter. Do you think these crafts and beings were summoned to come down by local area government or private resident psionics? I doubt if Suffolk County Council has those kinds of facilities, Betty Claw. I doubt if they do. Resident psionics, yes. It's certain people are attracted to them. Certain people are drawn into them. The phenomenon centers around certain individuals quite a lot, especially like abduction and beings and things like that. That is a distinct possibility. Thank you very much. Excellent comment. And welcome to the channel. I'm sure I haven't seen you before. I mean, that's I recognize that name anywhere. 114, Tor Engen, who's put a timestamp on here. Here we go. This is on 114. On Apollo Detectives 12, Steve Mumbling special. All right, you've got in there just in time, over the moon. Radio waves at frequencies of 30 megahertz and below are capable of bouncing off the ionosphere, allowing them to travel long distances by reflecting between the Earth's surface and the... Right. Tor says, for those who lack knowledge of transmission and information theory, if you just transmit a single signal just as it is, you will constantly fail. Checked what Apollo used for unified S-band in short. Downlink telemetry and Reed-Solomon code for error correction. To prevent standing wave in transmission, they used pseudo-random scrambling. For phase modulate, it used differential phase shift keying, DPSK. The quote, the signal strength, transmission power, antenna gain, and frequency all align with the expected parameters for successful communication over lunar distances. It is this kind of, it is in fact kind of false, since you must have different methods of error corrections to make it work, just not the signal. Right. Well, Tor, I don't actually understand the details, the technical details, but maybe Steve Mumbling or indeed Scott Henderson can actually help you with that. But I'm always open to new ideas. Neil Peel on reply to comments 13. Ben, I will be video filming Warminster and audio recording it. Maybe I could film you doing some short interviews. Yeah, we did, didn't we, Neil? That's right, we did. Before I forget, actually, I should go through this email comment I had here from somebody who was trying. This was somebody trying to put comments on that wouldn't work. They would not actually post the comments, which is annoying. They disappeared. Hi Ben, this was an email sent to me. I just received a notification that you were responding to one of my comments. Looks like you're doing a reply to comments video. That's the last one. I've been trying to post the comment below on the AI Overlords video, but it's not sticking with or without the links. Maybe you could address it in the reply to comments video instead. Cheers. I will. Thank you. I will definitely. There's nothing I can do, unfortunately, about disappearing comments. This is a bug in YouTube, which they will not or cannot correct. I've had the same thing. I just posted a comment on Professor Simon Holland's channel. It's just vanished. It's just gone. Thanks for uploading this video. I've taken a look as you suggested. Unfortunately, it's over 2 years old, which in the fast-moving world of AI development and training is a significant gap. May I suggest you review this up-to-date video? And there's 2 links here. and its subsequent parts as a reference and consider producing an updated version of your video. It would be great to hear your take on more recent advancements and approaches in hardware, scale, development, use of tools, and training. 2 years plus ago, many users engaged with ChatGPT under the misconception that it functioned as a search engine. At that time, the model's training data was already several years out of date, and it lacked the ability to retrieve real-time information from the web. This fundamental limitation led to widespread confusion regarding the scope and reliability of its responses. Contemporary AI tools have evolved considerably in many ways, including searching the web, but the underlying principles remain unchanged. They are not search engines. Right. They're not search. Okay. All right. Where are we now? ChatGPT and similar language models generate responses based on statistical patterns within vast data sets they've been trained on, rather than through active browsing or accessing current databases. Consequently, expecting them to provide accurate, up-to-date factual information, such as recent events, breaking news, or niche folklore, is both inappropriate and ineffective. To use, well, I noticed that actually because of they can't even read a train timetable properly. To use AI tools effectively, users must shift their expectations and approach. Rather than querying about haunted houses, Helen Duncan, the Loch Ness Monster, or Sasquatch, subjects reliant on historical specificity and real-world investigation engage the model with thoughtful and analytical prompts. Ask about the books it has absorbed conceptually. Request summaries of classic philosophical arguments. Explore hypothetical scenarios and use it to refine your own coding, writing, and reasoning, plus so much more. AI thrives when treated as a conversational partner, capable of generating insights, testing logic, and supporting creativity. But like any tool, its value depends on the skill and intention of its users. Maybe Grok 4 in unhinged modes would be more your thing. When Joe Rogan and Elon Musk asked it, quote, "Is the gold still in Fort Knox?" unquote, Grok replied, "What, are you a fucking conspiracy theorist or something?" Oh, yeah. I didn't know Grok 4 was that blunt. Well, that's interesting. I did actually accuse Grok of trying to take over. I made a sarcastic joke when they got... Grok actually got all the details wrong about Dr. Judy Wood at one point, and I said underneath sarcastically, "Grok, I'm not worried that you're going to take over the world anytime soon." And it replied, "Don't worry, world domination is not part of my agenda." But okay, sorry that wouldn't stick, that comment. That's really, really annoying when it wouldn't stick. So I just had a text from somebody. I'm just going to check it's not urgent. It isn't. All right. Okay. Oh, bloody hell. Government alert. All right, this is interesting. Government emergency alert test, 7th of September, 3 p.m. If your phone's compatible, you'll hear a siren and feel it vibrate. No action is needed. More info. Right, that's something I need to deal with another time. And another is... Okay, so that's something else I've got to deal with in a little while, which I will. Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe I'll cover that in a video. But let me just make a note here. I'll just make a note here in future programs for AI. Where is it? AI. Oh, bloody heck. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Here we go. I'll just put here ideas for future videos. I've got like a list here on this article here. I'll put AI overlords update. There we go. See, that's absolutely true. Yeah, good. And I think maybe an update on that subject is a good idea, actually. Yeah, so I'll go with you on that. I'll go with you definitely on that. So thanks very much for that. Okay. My pussycats. I never knew you had cats, says Red Snapper. Well, I don't anymore. I used to. Right, Hugo Rune, 255 onwards. Radio waves, spot on. I was at below 30 megahertz. I'm just going to check the timestamp. Below 30 megahertz was broadcast, above was point to point. I was a telecoms engineer and worked mainly in the microwave edit for the rest of it. That was my job, 100%. Radio waves at frequencies of 30 megahertz and below are capable of bouncing off the ionosphere. Oh, that's just the same timestamp as before. Thanks, Hugo. 4550. This is on 114. Both, and the last one was 114 as well. Red was first. Sorry, Red was, I'm afraid. Yeah, you. Who was first? Thank you for letting me know. Red was first. I sit corrected. Well, you get the silver. You got a silver for a change, Hugo. Right. What applied to comments? 114. Hugo Rune. Right, here we go. Thanks, Ben. Read Nexus. I will get it again, especially if you're ad for the book. I will get it regularly. Be nice to be back in on it. Oh, right. Oh, nice one.
Reply to comments 22, timestamp here.
Oh, I'm yawning there. No, I get. There's no need to play the timestamp, Hugo. Yeah, Nexus magazine. If you love this, if you love HPANWO TV, you will adore Nexus magazine. It's the magazine for the woo fringe community, even more so than 40 and Times. In fact, all you really need to read is 40 and Times and Nexus if you're into this sort of thing. So I've got. Oh well, Marcus, I've got you a new subscriber. Okay. This is Hugo Rune again on the timestamp here on 414.
This time. Well done. And Red Snap says, 15 hours late I am. Oh, well, Red, you have a silver tinfoil hat.
All right, Hugo says, onward. Thanks for that. Thanks for the gold. Well done, Hugo. Yes, gold tinfoil hat to Hugo. 114. I stand corrected. All right. So, you're not sit corrected this time. Yeah, maybe you could. I know you told me you can stand up for short periods. Nice one, Ben. That had me giggling. Oh, what's this one here? This is
the man with the orthopedic shoes once said, I stand corrected.
Yeah, that's Alan Partridge. It's I'm Alan Partridge that came from. I didn't invent that joke. 114, Hugo Rune. All right, here we go.
Oh, please don't. We'd miss you.
All right, I'm not going to play that whole thing, but I know what you're talking about. Hugo Rune says, thank you, Ben. I'm sorry I was a bit depressed, but I was ill. I've just got home. I've been in hospital for 6 days, had 3 drips in my arms and various antibiotics, but I'm now fit again, feeling great. Thank you for your sentiment for me. You're a diamond. I can now get back to challenging the government over cannabis. More later. I'm just writing it, and then we'll make a video. Will you? Oh, you can put videos on your channel. Would you put it on your channel for me? Yes, of course. Yes, I'd be glad to. Well, but we could do like an interview or something. Maybe we better. But yeah, I'll gladly host your videos, Hugo. Just a quick response to these comments, and I'll now watch the video with a big smile on my face. 6 days without a spliff. Now got one lit, another dozen in my tin, which is nice. Yeah, and I'm always trying to make plans. It's one of these things I keep making plans to do, never fulfill it. Other things get in the way. But coming to visit you, yeah. But yeah, definitely. Put it on your own channel. I'll tell you what. I could put it on your channel, but upload it to your own as well. Oxford Graffiti 13, 6EQUJ5, the wow signal again. Excellent work, Ben. I really enjoy this series of yours. All the best. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Right, 3i Atlas is glowing. Paul Classman. Oh dear, here we go. What's your issue with skeptics? Well, watch one of my skeptic videos, Paul. I've got a skeptic portal. Here it is. Look. Go to this. I know there's a lot of material here. But go to this particular portal. Here we go. Look, here we go. Skeptics portal. And there's all that there for you. It's a big, big, long portal there. It goes all the way down there. But there's your skeptic portal. There you go. I explain it all in there. All good scientists and engineers require to see evidence before jumping to any conclusion. I know. What's the problem with that? Belief is not satisfactory in the real world. Only knowing has any importance. Or are you like Linda Moulton Howe, whose default conclusion is it must be the space aliens, because that's more exciting than reality. I'll believe in your green space aliens when I see them. Until then, there is precisely zero evidence for intelligent ET life so far. I don't say there is no ET life somewhere. Of course, I don't know. But I'm not so gullible and desperate to believe in something there is no evidence for whatsoever. Paul, did you watch the video? I don't think you watched this video because, there's nothing... apart from what you said about Linda, which is not fair, I don't actually disagree with the stuff. I wouldn't have used your kind of harsh rhetoric, but I don't disagree with anything else you've said here, really. But, if you actually watch the video, you'll know that I'm not actually... I think you are marginalizing me here grossly. I'm just saying, am I like LMH? Default conclusion, it must be space aliens. That is not in the video. It's not in the video. I don't think there is zero evidence, though, for ET life. Use the word gullible again. You like the word gullible, don't you? I think you like it when you like think. I think you enjoy the idea that other people are gullible, but you've got the goods. Yeah, but no, it's completely unfair. But again, I don't disagree harshly with your belief is not satisfactory in the real world. Of course not. I agree. Believe in green space aliens when you see them? Yes, correct. So please watch the video, see, because you'll find it doesn't fit in with that at all. Right, we've got a thread. 3-Eye Atlas is glowing first, says Red Snapper. I actually put in blimey. That was quick. You must have been poised. Hugo Rune says, sorry, I was being washed in oil by a beautiful lady from South Africa. Nice massage. I understand you got distracted, Hugo. That's fair enough. Hugo also says, sorry, you are unaware of my problem, so I'm not criticizing you. I just need to know. I've been in hospital for 6 days. I'm now going through my messages. I need to catch up, if you don't mind. I'd love to continue a dialogue with you. I do enjoy it. Please give me time to get sorted. Hey, Hugo, yeah, I'm glad you're better now and all right. We were a bit worried about you, but, you know, you've explained what happened. Sorry you've not been well, Hugo, says Red Snapper. Glad you're back. Thank you, says Hugo. I'm now relaxing, watching Deal or No Deal on YouTube. Good. Thank you, says Hugo. Right, that's good. Here we go. Gin Skin Pivot. Here he goes. Right. And David Smith is here. Right, we're in for a laugh now. We're in for a laugh now. Here we go. 20 minutes 38. The answer from the skeptics is, this is quoting me, it doesn't matter how unlikely it is, right? Even if it's 1 billion to 1 chance, we have to accept that other than aliens. We always accept every possibility that it's physically possible, regardless of how unlikely it is, even if it's something we just make up off the top of our heads because reasons based on a principle they don't understand. They never explain this. They never explain this principle. This is what I call the clown's day off fallacy. You can even make something up. It doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't involve aliens, it wins by default. That's a quote from me, and it's an accurate one. A gibberish-heavy generalization qualifying both hypocrisy and yet more double standard. Right. That is a sentence full of rhetoric and no information. He carries on. Firstly, you insist on this repeated inversion of the meaning skeptic. You are in the skeptic ranks as we accept scientific consensus based on available knowledge and experience. I can only speak for my type of skeptic when I say that in the above quote, you actually project the more common woo-woo approach. Okay, well, the meaning of skeptic we've gone into, its definitions, but I project the more common woo-woo approach in my above quote. Really? Well, I mean, if woo-woos do, let's just see exactly why you think so. Okay. Only in woo-woo land do aliens drop people off phone boxes in bad weather out of altruism. Only in the fantasy world of the woo-woos do the elites have chemtrail shelters that you assert with clarity, only to say later with total vagueness, my guess is they're probably quite large in places like New Zealand. The WTC didn't come down faster than free fall, it came down 4 seconds slower. The roll film worked in space pre-Apollo, so why do the Apollo denies Dades only deny it from 1969? An opinion on 2 dissimilar photos is irrefutably not evidence Paul McCartney died and was replaced. You casually announce a lot of chemtrail activity on seeing the familiar plumes in the sky over Oxford, while not having not one iota of evidence that anyone's ever sprayed anything over England. Okay, let's go through those things. Aliens do drop people off phone boxes. I don't know, in bad weather. I don't know if it's altruism or maybe they had another reason for saying let's put Travis here near Heber. We don't want to put him back in the woods, do we? Where there's no one around. It's snowing. You know. Now the thing about the chemtrail shelters. Now I would suggest you watch my video about underground bunkers if you've not done already, because it's more than just vagueness here. I mean, why is Peter Thiel buying up all these properties? Why is there strange building works going on there? Right, the World Trade Center didn't come down faster than free fall. It came down 4 seconds slower. Right, according to Dr. Judy Wood, I think it didn't. I think it came down like 1 second slower or something like that. I have to look up the exact figures, but it certainly didn't fall the way it should have done. Right, roll film worked in space pre-Apollo, so why do I won't say that word. Hoax believers only deny it from 1969. I think you may be referring to the spy satellites, which did have a roll film system, and they actually released film canisters that were actually picked up by an amazing system of aircraft carrying nets. Those, I mean, we actually discussed this in one of the Apollo detectives videos. Those films were not in, they were in pressurized, I think they were in pressurized canisters. And according to Scott, you know, the vacuum in low Earth orbit is very different to the vacuum on the moon. Any two dissimilar photos is irrefutable, not evidence Paul McCartney died and was replaced. An opinion on two dissimilar photos is irrefutably not evidence Paul McCartney was replaced. Okay, well, look, if you see a photograph of me right now, as I am now, and in 2 months' time someone produces another photo, apparently of me with very different features, is that irrefutably not evidence that I'm not the same person? I've been replaced? Because if not, I'd like to know why not, Jen. Please explain. You casually announce a lot of chemtrail activity on seeing the familiar plumes in the sky of Oxford, while not having one iota of evidence that anyone's ever sprayed anything over England. Well, I disagree with that for reasons I've explained in other videos. I'm not going to repeat myself on, you know, I have made statements and talked about this. Please, maybe you're better off commenting on the actual videos and addressing the actual points in those videos. It's actually your type of skeptic who generally uses the thinnest and most tenuous reasoning for sticking to woo-woo bullshit while ignoring vast quantities of evidence, factual data, legally valid and qualified expertise, and irrefutable proof, just so you can say things like, I've never been over this before, I believe the Apollo detectives. All right, well, I don't need to see my type of skeptic. I'm not any type of skeptic. I'm a woo-woo. I'm not I don't disagree with like the skeptics' definition of themselves. I just think the skeptics don't actually understand they don't understand themselves very well. As I've explained in my skeptic talk, not one crumb of Apollo hoax believer assertion is backed up with evidence, but you'll run with them rather than make an objective appraisal of the physical proof of manned landings. Because in your world, one sentence of loosely worded scorn directed at the whole shebang is a good enough reason to claim a conspiracy and cover up of the whole. No, I don't think that's fair at all. I mean, there's a lot of, again, I don't think that's fair. I think there's a long sentence here with rhetoric, and I don't think there's, you know, you've given examples in the past and I have disputed those examples. So therefore, I would say I disagree with what you've said here. Ben, it's you who's coming to and promoting the most unlikely explanation. It's you that's ignoring all other possibilities to make Three Eye Atlas sensational. And it's you who's making stuff up off the top of your head whilst admitting the terminology in use for the comet is beyond your understanding. No. I'm not, look, to paraphrase my own quote here. Right, so my answer from woo-woos is it doesn't matter how likely it is, even if it's almost certain, we have to accept that other than a non-alien explanation. Okay, we always accept no possibility that's physically possible, regardless of how likely it is, even if it's something we just make up off the top of our heads, because reasons based on principle we never explain. Again, we can even make something up. It doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't involve comets, it wins by default. Now, I've just adapted my own quote and reversed it on the skeptic woo spectrum. I've never actually said that, and I don't believe that would be a sensible thing to say. And certainly in the video you're commenting on, I never make that point. You are QEDing all of the above, Ben. Quod erratissim strandum. You just can't see how self-indoctrinated you become in the exact opposite of the scientific method. Well, I don't. You see, the very fact that, you know, I'm trying to level with you here and we're trying to explain it to each other exactly why we think each other is wrong. Now, if I was self-indoctrinated, I wouldn't do that. I'd just put my fingers up at you and block you. So I don't think that's fair at all. And David Smith says underneath, great comment. The problem is, if Ben has his keys go missing, to him, the chances of them being dropped, stolen, or moved as some kind of joke really are the same as a ghost or alien taking them. And he has to go with that in order to be consistent, just consistently irrational. No, David, of course, obviously, I could just say, well, if I wanted to be very, very stubborn, I could say, and ungenerous, I could say, and a bit facetious, I could say, well, I don't know how often ghosts come down and take things as opposed to them just dropping out of my pocket. The thing is, for all practical intents and purposes, when that happens, and it does happen, I don't assume aliens and ghosts have taken them. I do retrace my steps and see if I can find them. That actually happened yesterday. So I don't think that's, I mean, I know there is some kind of, when it comes to dropped keys, there is, I think you can apply Occam's razor there, simply because of the times it's happened to me. So I don't think that's fair at all. 3 Atlas is glowing. Hugo Rue, nice one, Red. I only got 24 seconds and your message was there. Thanks. Well, Hugo got in there first. I've got another text message. Oh, these people keep doing this. Oh, let's see if it's anything urgent. Is this the alarm system going off or something? All right. Let's have a look. What's this? All right. Okay. I've just got to do something after the next. I've got to remember to do something after the next bloody, and the end of the next session, which is in about 32 minutes time. Neil Peel, it gives off light. Maybe it's super hot inside. Yeah. Now, Avi did actually say that. He said, could it be actually there could be some source of heat from a natural process. Now, we know that hot things do give off light. The sun is the perfect example. Things in the universe they are luminous, primarily through the nuclear fusion of plasma. And Gary says here, yeah, I was wondering about that. Maybe it has a molten core, or maybe it has a substance inside it that gives off light, right? If so, Gary, if there is a natural process involved here, then it is one that we've never seen before. And maybe we shouldn't be surprised if we are seeing a natural process we've never seen before, because we're dealing with something from another star system. However, we know through, for example, spectroscopic analysis of the stars and planets around us in the galaxy, that things like the chemistry and elements are pretty much the same across the universe. You can actually find them in distant galaxies. You can find the same elements, for example, and the same compounds. It seems these, like the laws of physics, the laws of chemistry are very similar. So if there's a natural process which is causing it to give off light, then it can't be nuclear fusion, because we would detect the radiation. What is it instead? This is what we want to find out. This is why it's so important that it's only a month now, just over a month, and 3i Atlas will be zipping past Mars, very close enough for the Mars Express high-rise camera to get a really good shot of it. This is why it's so important. We may learn, and we may have an answer to your questions, both of you, Neil and Gary, when that happens. Neil says to Gary, planets have molten cores, while Earth apparently has, but that has seawater all around that reflects light. Maybe there are holes or escape pockets that spew this glowing molten stuff out, or it has a bulb inside it. Now, it's interesting, right? Because there's some planets appear to have hot cores and others don't. Molten cores are often associated with volcanic activity. Now, Mars has no volcanic activity, but it did in the past. This indicates it's possible that the core of the planet has solidified, it's set. Or maybe the molten activity is so deep that it doesn't actually reach the surface. Now, the cause for the interior of planet of the heat that comes from the inside of planets, it's often put down to residual heat from the planet's formation. But other scientists have calculated that's not possible, and there's some other processes causing, for example, the rock to stay liquid within the planet, and therefore it does cause volcanoes, which can cause terrible damage on the surface. But on the other hand, they're essential for the magnetic field, which protects Earth from solar radiation. So, for example, it's possible that the actual volcanoes on Mars destroyed the previous environment, but at the same time, paradoxically, before that, they were preserving that environment through Mars having a magnetic field, which apparently it used to do. There's signs in the rocks that there used to be a magnetic field billions of years ago. But you see, 3i Atlas is far too small to have any residual heat left over inside it from its formation. And it formed, but it actually is believed to be older than the Earth. It's likely to have formed up to 7 billion years ago, so it's almost twice as old as the Earth. If that's the case, then it can't have residual heat. There must be something generating that heat inside it, either natural or artificial. The very fact that so ever since I made this video and the live stream that associated with us, it's been discovered there's actually nickel coming out of it and not iron. Now, nickel and iron cannot be separated except by an industrial process, unless there's some natural formation, unless there's some natural process we have yet to discover that separates nickel from iron. Avi, it's all on Avi's blog. Gary says, it's definitely a well-behaved alien mothership. Sorry, it's definitely a well-lit alien mothership. That's the only logical explanation. Well, I mean, you do have to, I mean, despite going back to Gin Skin Pivot and what he said to me, you know, there's nothing wrong with suggesting that this might be technology, an extraterrestrial technology. And Avi is absolutely right to do that. And Neil says to Gary, that it comes in on the elliptical plane rather than straight up or down. Yeah, there's a 500 to 1 chance of something doing that, according to Avi. Amazingly, it's zodiacal. It's passing through the plane of the ecliptic, this very narrow disk of space in which the planets orbit. Apart from Pluto, they all orbit. And Paul says underneath, it's an uncharacteristically short comment. Not apparently, it has. There is evidence for this every time a volcano erupts, not to mention the drift of the magnetic that has been measured over time. Well, yeah, on Earth, yes, but we're dealing... Paul, the 3i Atlas is not Earth. It's far older and it's much smaller. Jinskin Pivot says here, on 3i Atlas glowing, quote, Clown's Day Off fallacy. Clearly another fabrication of yours. Google doesn't recognize it, so please explain. Certainly. I invented it. I invented that phrase. That's why Google doesn't explain it. I imagine, I'm surprised Google hasn't picked up my own thing now. Backslappers, quote unquote. I assume this is some sort of some or other reference to a gaggle of nodding dogs, which are the collective gatherings of conspiracy theorists like Apollo detectives. Oh, AD is Apollo detectives, not denier. Right. Oh, I apologize, Jin. I apologize. I misunderstood you when you said AD. Okay. One of them makes a flat assertions and the other chip in with, yep, exactly, good point, or that's right, quote unquote. No, that's not what a backslapper is. I'll explain what a backslapper is. I think maybe not in this video, but I explain it in some of my other videos. Oh, actually, let me read you the three rules of backslapperdom. Let me read you the 3 rules. What is it? The 3 rules of backslapperhood. Maybe that has some question. Okay, right, here you go. Rule 1. All people except the backslappers fall into 2 groups, shills and naive people who are duped by shills. Rule 2. Anything the backslappers don't believe in is a psyop. Rule 3. Nothing in this world can ever get any better. The Illuminati have total power and can never be beaten. If anything happens that makes it look like the Illuminati are losing power, it's just a deeper and more devious act of the conspiracy that proves that their power is growing and that they are winning even more. Only backslappers are clever enough to understand this and have the courage to face up to it. Okay, those are the 3 rules of backslapperhood. All right, guys. Yeah, it's in this article, by the way. Andrew has questions. Yeah, it's about Andrew Johnson. There you go. It's in that article there. All right, so that's what a backslapper is, right? So your definition is wrong. You've misunderstood it. Or maybe you haven't just looked into enough of my videos where I describe it. Jin continues. You know, the usual exercised the in CT group affirmation of every claim made where evidence is unnecessary and asking for qualification is just plain bad manners. No, it's not. That's an unfair assessment of our community. And you say, what is a backslapper, Ben? Okay, well, I've just explained. Quote, David Smith says, oh no, David Smith hasn't replied, unusually. Arts Channel says on 3i Atlas glowing, psyop incoming. Oh, speak of the... There's your answer. There's Arts Channel is a... No, he may not be. He may not be a total backslapper, but he sometimes makes backslappery comments. Now, as I said in the video, Arts Channel, I think we should be on our guard. We should be on our guard in case this is like, and as Red Snapper says underneath, Project Bluebeam in full swing. This is a possibility. We should be on our guard. On the other hand, though, what if it's not? What if this is real aliens? If it is real aliens, then it's absolutely vital we take it seriously, because if for any reason this does something genuinely, undisputably alien, then the government can't cover it up. There are thousands of telescopes in every observatory all over the world watching this object. They will not be able to cover it up if that happens. There's even amateurs with telescopes in their back gardens who've managed to view 3i Atlas. It will be a moment, if anything like this happens, it will be a moment of catastrophic disclosure. And so I'm not going to just accept the paradigm of prevention, the standard backslapper line. Well, it's a psyop. It has to be a psyop, man. No, it doesn't have to be. It might be. And David Smith, David Smith says underneath, something you can label psyop incoming. Oh, I don't know what that means exactly. It sounds funny though, David. Something. Oh no, sorry, it's an asterisk. Something you can label psyop incoming. Oh, I don't know what the asterisk refers to, but then there you go. Right, 3i Alice. Oh, right, Hugo Rune says here. I don't need to put a comment on this because he just misunderstood what I was saying. 5 weeks away, May the 7th, months away. What am I missing? And I was talking about when 3i passes Mars. Yeah, and Hugo says thanks, Ben. Okay. Right. Owen McDonald, right? Oh yeah. Owen McDonald has commented again. I think this might have been the first time he commented actually. Owen runs a YouTube channel. He's interviewed Rin Michaelis and a few other people, and he says, "Hi Ben, I would love to get in touch for some kind of stream discussion debate with you about the UK at the moment. I'm a fairly left-wing person. I've seen, excuse me, so I wasn't sneezing because he says he's left-wing. I've seen some of your takes on society and politics, and I find myself disagreeing, but I'd be interested in chatting to you in person about them. Let me know if you're interested." And I replied, "Sure, Owen, I'd be glad to. As you can see from my comments, I don't mind disagreements." And I gave him my public email, and Owen says, we basically had an email conversation. And Owen, I'm going to be on Owen's channel in a couple of weeks. All right, so go to Owen McDonald and check that out. I'll post a link on HPANWO Voice when it happens. And Paul Klansman, you've got to be a party pooper, haven't you, Paul Klansman? Don't forget to ask for definitive proof of the space aliens that he so strongly believes in. The kind of evidence that could be considered proof in a court of law or peer-reviewed scientific conference, not hearsay stories told at conferences to sell books. According to Gary Hazeltine, there is proof that could be held up in a court of law. There are scientific papers on UFOs. So, again, I disagree with you there. But watch the video anyway, Paul. Paul, all right. Gary Robinson says here on 3i Atlas is glowing. Something that just occurred to me is that if it were an alien mothership, which I don't believe it is, then would it be as bright as it is? What I mean by that is, if a supposed civilization built a mothership to travel through space, it's not likely they would make it illuminated, right? I don't know, Gary. I mean, it depends on its function, its workings, how it works, its engineering. I mean, it could be that giving off certain amount of light is necessary. And Avi actually has an article on his blog about the possibility of it using antimatter, which inevitably would create some light as it interacts with the interstellar medium. Now, one thing that's interesting is that 3i Atlas, as I said, appears to be directed to avoid the Earth, as if they don't want us to see it. If that's the case, then they're not doing it. Firstly, they failed because we have seen it. But it could be, well, why are they illuminating it if they don't want us to see it? Well, it could be that they can't help illuminating, like it said, and they're just hoping we won't see it. I don't know. The answer is I don't know for certain. Gary says, P.S. Will it be getting close to Uranus? Is Uranus in danger of an unsolicited impact? Oh, Gary, let's keep them going. Let's keep these unoriginal Uranus jokes going, guys. I'll tell you, on October the 3rd, I'll pick the best one. I really, really will. Yes. Right, and we have the wow signal again on 3i Atlas is glowing, SEQUJ5. Second, well done. I will be sending a tinfoil hat to wherever you come from in the Sagittarius constellation, 3 degrees away from where 3i Atlas appeared. Right. All right, nothing as it seems. Posits. Here we go. Oh, Electric Universe posits says nothing as it seems. That the comet's electrical interaction with the solar circuit changes as it moves through the regions of varying plasma potential. EU proponents suggest that plasma discharge behavior, governed by electric circuits and magnetic fields in space, can produce complex tail structures that may appear to point towards the sun under certain conditions. Avi is stuck in a paradigm which believes the directional nature of the comet tails is consistently explained by solar wind and radiation pressure. Loeb leads the Galileo project, which seeks evidence of extraterrestrial technology. So from his perspective, 3i Alice could be an extraterrestrial technological artifact. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly. I mean, I know that I do remember while talking about comets in his talk back in 2010, and it's in his book. I mean, Sue did occasionally put it down for 5 minutes to allow me to have a little like flick through it. But yeah, Andrew Johnson actually has a video about this in one of his Secrets in Space videos about whether comets are actually electrical in nature. If so, then of course you'd have to explain things like the presence of chemicals and things like that in the coma, which Avi's talked about. Paul Klansman is just laughing. He's just like, there's 3 laughter emojis and a roll eye emoji, and nothing as it seems, says to Paul, effing fucking have an idea, have an opinion, decide on the direction, be prepared to be wrong, be willing to fail. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this turns out, if it starts giving off huge amounts of water in a couple of months, then as it comes to perihelion, I'll say, okay, it was a comet. A very unusual one, a unique one, worth study, but it's not an alien spaceship. Interesting indeed, says DJ B2. All right, yes. Big news, says the crafty nihilist. Very much so. This is really hard. I mean, I never predicted this would happen. I mean, if it's glowing, I mean, they're going to have to find some kind of natural explanation, which we've never heard of before, literally. I mean, literally, Avi goes through all the possibilities and said that none of them are in any way feasible. But we do know that some artificial engineering can produce light. So it's being emitted deliberately, maybe, you know. Jimmy Jenks. Hello, Jimmy. New viewer, welcome. What if 3i Alice is carrying a Captain Xantor type character from Space 1999? Whoa! There's nostalgia for you. Yes, that classic Jerry Anderson series. I don't remember the details of it. I used to watch it when I was a kid. I even had like the toy spaceship. But I don't. Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I can't remember that, I'm afraid. I'll have to watch it again. They were absolutely cool. There was a series called UFO as well. This was after the puppet series he made, the various puppet series. The crafty nihilist says on 3i Atlas Growing, maybe it's on its way to Warminster for this Sunday, Ben. Yeah, the Warminster Thing conference. Well, it didn't get there on time, unfortunately. Right, Video Band 13. Gary Robinson. Holy Smoke is a great film. It was made during a period when Kate Winslet's first husband would only let her appear in small indie movies. As a result, she made Holy Smoke and Hideous Kinky, which was a film about a young mother who takes her 2 children to Morocco, where she becomes obsessed with Sufism, resulting in her temporarily abandoning one of them. As far as I know, neither of those films are ever available on Blu-ray or streaming, which is a shame, as she gets a kit off in both. Cheers. All right, Gary. Well, in that case, I'm definitely going to watch Hideous Kinky, right? Because she is hot as fuck. There's no other word for it. I didn't know. I mean, Kate Winslet, you see, I mean, she made her big name with Titanic, didn't she? That was her kind of like big. I think it was about 92, was it 91, 92? That's really what launched her on her career. But since she married this guy, who she wasn't married to him for very long, he was a member of the crew. But I didn't, But did he try to stifle her career? Because that would explain why she finished with him. Only appear in small indie movies. I mean, surely she wanted to get like cast in the big studios, and she didn't. She has. But yeah, Holy Smoke is fantastic. It's kind of funny. It's a comedy. It's not feminist propaganda, even though I originally interpreted it as such. So it's always worth watching a movie more than once, you know. And it's amazing because it's about like how she turns the tables on this guy who's supposed to be deprogramming her, and she ends up kind of in the dominant role, and he ends up kind of being almost as if she draws him into a kind of cult. Of course, it's based on sex because of this attraction between them, but it's really, really cool. And in the end, there's a very touching reconciliation at the end. It has a very happy ending. But yeah, do watch Holy Smoke if you get the chance. And of course, Kate in her birthday suit. That's the highlight of it, of course. But I mean, even if they didn't have that scene in there, I'd still like it. Right, 129. This is on reply to comments 24 again, and Red Snapper is here, as is always.
Far too many people like their freedom and fun to let a regime like that stand. Really? People will choose freedom and fun, right? And they'll just say that is what they value most in life. I assure you, Steve, many people over the years, including in today's world and recent times, have sacrificed their freedom and fun willingly because of fear.
Yeah. Typical. One of Steve Mumling's weaker comments. Typical skeptic. Yeah, unfortunately, people have sacrificed so much for fear and for conformity. Very much so. Yeah. Right. Red Snapper says on reply to comments part 4. This right. He's on 2 of 2 now. He's on the second one. Of reply to comments 24. Right. Wow. Bad quality. Oh dear. What have I done now?
So thanks very much, guys. See you in a bit.
Okay, Ava.
Oh dear.
Now. Should be.
Honestly, I don't know. It was 6 years ago. I don't know what went wrong, Red. But for some reason, I mean, the sound was terrible on that video, and I don't know. It's possible my microphone. I may have even used some reason the webcam mic and the other mic were probably like working together. They're both on at the same time. There's a double track recorded. I don't know. Right, 24. Part 2 of 2. Red Snapper.
Your live program, I had to work, but we'll catch up now. In my opinion, Epstein is alive, and many have said so.
All right, okay. No doubt Epstein is alive. People won't work for the ring if they know or suspect they will be killed. I've heard people suggest that Epstein's still alive. I don't think so, based on Dr. Barden's pathology report, because he was the post-mortem was performed by a man called Dr. Barden. What's his full name? Hang on. Let's see. Nicole. Right. O.J. Simpson pathologist. Michael Barden. Okay, Michael Barden. He was. He's a guy who I think would not lie about something like this, because he was the guy who was instrumental in raising the alarm, because when he was young he was involved in the Kennedy assassination. He was instrumental in raising the alert over that. He was also the pathology. He also did the post-mortem on Nicole Simpson, the wife of O.J. Simpson, and his evidence was presented. I mean. And we know that Simpson was acquitted, and many people think that was a bad idea. That was a bad ruling. That was a bad judgment. And indeed, based on Barden's report, I think it was. So he wasn't willing to collaborate with the court. I think his evidence was not, in my view, his evidence was not judged correctly. And then he did the post-mortem on Epstein. Now, I don't think he would pretend to do a post-mortem on a guy who was still alive, not least because he's instrumental in questioning the suicide hypothesis. He said the hyoid bone you could actually feel your hyoid bone is a very thin arch-shaped bone in your throat. It's about there. You can just feel it, right? And it's essential actually for speaking, because it actually is part of your larynx. But it broke with Epstein. And the way it broke suggests hanging rather than strangulation. And he gives a very, very interesting overview of why the injury is consistent with a hang-in and not like with a strangulation by someone else and not a suicide, a hang-in. So yeah, right. So now we come on to 24 part 2 to Red Snapper again. Another classic mumbling.
Didn't even make the decision to go until 2 weeks earlier. Steve Mumbling says it's the wall-to-wall bullshit.
Yeah, he loves those sorts of phrases. And now we have 2 of 2 again on 24. 24, 2 of 2. Good thing banning Buster King took a long time. He was awful. I'm sure he came back on another account. Oh, no doubt.
Dies. Buster King says, Ben, you fat slob. Right, I'm just going to ban you and remove the comment.
Yeah, I mean, they do, the trolls. This is why, I don't like ban. I sometimes don't ban people immediately, because I think to myself, what's the bloody point? He's been back several times, no doubt, yeah. Right, here we are on 24 part 2 of 2, Red Snapper. Are you and Poisoned Goth still good friends? Poisoned Goth? Who?
The Poison Goth. Hi, Poison Goth. As I know Poison Goths. We're good friends.
Oh, right. No, Poison Goth. Goth. Yeah, I don't want to give her a real name, but is her channel still there? Let's have a look. Because she had several channels. I know who she is. Let's have a look. Is it still there? No, it's gone. No, it's gone. All right, her channel appears to have gone. All right, I haven't spoken to her for ages. We didn't fall out, so I assume so. Yeah, I assume we're still good friends. 24-2 of 2. This Neptune Returns is crazy. Oh, Neptune Returns. So I don't have to click that link. Neptune Returns was quite a character. Yes, he was. He was quite a character. Yes, I do miss him. I do miss him. Right. 24-2 of 2. Steve Mumbling is a major nemesis of Marcus Allen. I think Marcus would regard it the other way around. But let's see what he has to say.
Steve Mumbling says on the Apollo 11 live stream. Yeah, Steve, I know what you're going to say. I only got as far as Marcus Allen is an expert on this while I was having my breakfast. PMS.
Yeah. Stephen, I think Marcus Allen is a bit of a major nemesis for Steve Mumbling. 24-2 of 2. Is Homage to Catalonia a fascinating book for you? Break it down why it's fascinating. All right. Well, to give a full review, I think it's one of Orwell's typical autobiographical works, very heartfelt. It's like a combination of a memoir and like some political commentary, just like Road to Wigan Pier and Down and Out in Paris and London. I like it because it's vivid. He explains not only his surroundings but his feelings. I get the impression of a man who really wants to make the world a better place, even though I don't agree with everything he stands for. I wasn't left wing like he was, but I think it's a vital historical document. I mean, he was literally in the middle of Barcelona when the POUM, his own organization, started fighting the other Republicans. That's kind of what led to the end of the war, because a second war broke. If you're familiar with the history of the Spanish Civil War, there was originally a united front against the fascist Franco, but then the united front broke down. It's almost like it's an unfunny version of Monty Python. They started fighting each other, and Orwell was caught up right in the middle of Barcelona when the fight broke out and he had to escape. And so I think it's a great historical document. I think it's a wonderful personal tale. I think it's a great autobiographical piece, and it's written for everyone. As Orwell, what I like about it is George Orwell deliberately didn't use a lot of big words. He always used kind of like the simplest words that he could in his work. Yet he still, even without the complexity, he still creates he's a very colorful creator of narrative. His ability to create simile, metaphor, description is amazing, using a very limited vocabulary. So I think as a writer, I think he's a genius. 24-2 of 2. Absolute marathon, over 10 hours of footage. How do you keep it interesting? Well, Red, I think you know the answer to that. I'm just a very interesting guy. 24-2 of 2. Who was this Colin person, a skeptic who died? I don't need to click the link here. It was Colin Snuggs, a guy who was known as Beatsart online, who died. He was very young. He was only in his early 40s. It was very sad. Even though I argued with him endlessly, I didn't dislike him. I was a bit like Steve Mumbling. You know, we had a kind of love-hate relationship. I even did an interview with him. Look, Red, there's an interview with him on the channel if you want to see. It's there. 3-Eye Atlas is glowing, Red Snapper. I am so hoping 3-Eye Atlas is real. It'll be a massive I told you so moment, the scientists and the skeptics. It would enormously. I mean, I think it will be a catastrophic disclosure moment. I think I might have made this point in the video, but there's no way, if this turns out, if it does something genuinely alien, they can't do a Roswell with it, right? UFO crash retrievals are a strictly local affair. This is different. It's up in the sky, and thousands of telescopes are watching it. They can't just put a fence around it and put it away in some secret base and then tell everyone it was a weather balloon. That won't work with 3-Eye Atlas. That's why it's really, really important that this turns out to be alien. I really would like that. 24-2 of 2. Are sea fishermen the bravest are the bravest of the brave, like hospital porters, in your opinion? Right, let's have a look. Well, maybe not quite like hospital porters.
Actually, oh God, you remember the Brexit scene? The fishermen sailed their boats up the Thames to protest against the European Fisheries, the Common Fisheries Act of 1976. They voted for Brexit to get out of that. They sailed their fishing boats. These brave men who go out into sea. They wear boiler suits, they wear rubber oilskins, and they get soaked, and they run the risk of being swept overboard or their ship sinking every day, so we can have fish fingers and fish and chips. Sea fishing is one of the most dangerous jobs you can do. And all these ships sail up, and what happens? You get bloody Bob Geldof on his millionaire's yacht, surrounded by his fucking groupies, all sipping champagne. These horrible little flat-chested teeny boppers are, with their champagne. Those are old enough to bloody drink. And Bob Geldof was there, sitting there, lecturing these brave, heroic men from his millionaire's yacht. It's one of the most disgusting things I ever saw.
Yeah, I do. I 100% supported those fishermen. I was joking about the hospital porters. You've got to be incredibly brave to do that job. As I said, it's one of the most dangerous things you can do. And to see Geldof there with his squealing little, like I say, teeny boppers, these squealing little immature little brats, lecturing these men was just disgusting. I mean, if that didn't urge you to vote leave, what would? And people who voted Remain and just castigate me for it. And I tell them this, and they just cast it aside. I've got nothing but contempt for those people. Right, 3-Eye Atlas Space Telescope live stream. Oh, we've got Jungle Surfer TV hoax. PJ, I know PJ is. If you think I'm crazy, right? I am like Professor Chris French compared to Jungle Surfer TV. Honestly, I am. He will tell you it's a hoax because space is not real. I'm not kidding you. Have I misrepresented you, Jungle Surfer? Oh, yeah. And finally, CTD copyright free first, says Red Snapper. Well done, Red. Sorry, Hugo. And we have Carol Griggs. Oh, God, this is an old one. Carol Griggs on Bexley Heath UFO incident part 3 of 4. My goodness me. My goodness me. Carol, anyway, new viewer, Carol Griggs. Welcome. One of the witnesses has written a book about it. I believe she moved to the USA many years ago. I don't think she moved to the USA, but she did write a book, and her name was where's the bloody book? Where's the bleeding book? Oh God, I can't think of her name, and I can't remember. It'll come to me in a minute. But she was involved in the Pentuck incident, not the Pentuck incident, the Bedouin Mountains incident as well. And she did write a book about it. I mean, she not just about that, about all kinds of things. Margaret Fry. Whenever you can't think of a name, guys, just don't think about it for a while. It'll pop back in. Margaret Fry, and the book was called. But it was a really good book. It was given to me by a friend, actually. He lent it to me, and he said I could keep it. All right, Margaret Fry UFO book. Linked to the Stars. It's this book here. But you're right, Carol. It's this book here. And it's a really, really good book. Forward by Desmond Leslie, Over the Flying Saucers Have Landed. Yeah, please do. It's really good. She didn't. Maybe she did live in the USA. I don't know. But she died here in Britain, where she comes from. She comes from Wales, I believe. But yeah, she did write that book. Yeah. And she witnessed the Bexley Heath UFO in 1955. Yeah. Right. CTD copyright free. Right. Here we go. And we have Red Snapper. I think this is going to go to 3 hours. Just about, yeah. In fact, I've reached the end of an hour. The ones who, through their own eyes, believe that they are engaging in critical thought. That these brave mavericks going up against the lying establishment. Things we are. That's all right. Yes, I actually do. Yes, I do. In all modesty, I do. Now, I was quoting I was actually quoting Skeptic of the North, paraphrasing what he said in the video that he banned. He forced me to. He got banned from YouTube, which I posted. He was saying it sarcastically, but I actually meant it. So I think I am. Yes, in all modesty, I am. That's the end of an hour. We are going to get. This is going to go to a third hour, guys. So back shortly. All right, guys. Welcome to hour number. Was it 3? Almost said 10 there for a moment. I've got Red Snapper talking about my long videos on my mind. Okay, so we have now CTD copyright free, and Red Snapper has put here. That was funny, the Stonecutter Simpsons episode. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that was so good. Thoughts about it's about alien babies and things like that. They are by people like me, and how you used to. Will lead inevitably to the point where mainstream media simply cannot be trusted. Oh right, the Stonecutters. I don't know why that's you chose that timestamp, Red Snapper. But yeah, remember the Stonecutter song? Who controls the British crown? Or who keeps the metric system down? We do, we do. I remember when Louisa, my daughter, was a little baby. We would like be sitting there and I'd sing along with her when she was little, and she could only sing the chorus. We do, we do. She used to sing along with me. It was so sweet. It's one of my precious memories of her being a little baby. Right, CTT copyright free, and I've Red Snapper again. We're nearly at the top now. This is now the third hour, so I've actually changed that. Third hour. There we go. I forgot to change it, so I'll just change it in here as well. Because this is it's not going to be a very long third hour. In fact, it's only been a fraction. But I mean, it's about the same. It's going to be about the same length as the last video, I think. Would there be a volume? Let's just click the timestamp. Do people react if I suddenly became a skeptic, which I might do at the end of this video? What would you say about me? What would you think? Would there be a volley of abuse and threats? Yeah, there would from some people. I hope that should I be in that situation, that there'll be some people would be a bit more understanding of me. It's all hypothetical, as it's very unlikely to happen. But it's funny enough, Susan Blackmore talks about her own conversion from being a woo-woo to a skeptic. And and both sides make converts from the other in this debate. There's no doubt about that. There are woo-woos who become skeptics and skeptics who become woo-woos. There's no doubt. Michael Shermer is currently on the kind of... I think he's currently on that pipeline right now. That is the skeptic to woo-woo pipeline. But yeah, obviously some people would take it badly, others would take it better. Funnily enough, Susan Blackmore, like I said, she said that when she became a woo-woo, she didn't get any abuse from the skeptics. But when she became a skeptic, she got massive amounts of abuse from the woo-woos. I mean, maybe times have changed, or maybe the internet has changed it. But Susan, honestly, the skeptic thug element is a real thing. It's a very, very real thing. Oh my goodness, no, we're not at the end yet. Sorry, I thought we were. We're not at the end yet. There's not lots more to come. So funny now, wacky races. Is it Dick Dastardly and Muttley, or is it the Rubble? Was it the Rubble Brothers, or whatever they're called? Or the Arkansas Chuggabug? I used to love that cartoon. Three-Eye Atlas is glowing. Ben, you are less conspiracy now than years ago. I remember you from the Organite in the River video way back and interviewing that girl about Duran Duran, which you took down. I didn't take it down. No, I actually took down one of them because this girl went a bit crazy. And also I had one deleted for copyright. You're very intelligent and you should be bigger than you are. All these yous, just like text speak. And you are text, you letter. You know me from Jupiter Returns channel. All right, you're Jupiter Returns, are you, Jack Racky Races? I have loads with a Z on channels, as I had 1,700 videos taken down due to copyright. Laughter. Great to see you less mad. I'd love a railway trip video. Stay safe. Thank you, Wacky Races. Now, well, you want to see a railway trip? There's one coming up. Yes, I'm taking a railway trip soon. Yes, so there will be one coming up. But thank you very much. I'm glad you appreciate what I do and you've been following me for so long. The Duran Duran video was actually pretty good if you've not seen it. There is actually a version I put up with the soundtrack muted. And it's the whole thing's on alt tech, apart from the one I took down because the girl went crazy and started threatening me. Yeah, definitely. I know. 3i Atlas is glowing. Tor Engen says, "Good update. Thanks, Tor." Yes, it's a lot of noise. It is easy to hurry to skip extra checks, and if one are trained to act fast as possible on topics, one can miss. But for one that doing fault solving, it's not a big menace. Tor, you really need to work on your spelling and grammar. It is easy to hurry to skip extra check. Yeah. And if one are trained to act as fast as possible on topics, one can miss. Fault solving, it's not a big matter. I don't understand all of that, but you have to be not act too fast on topics, Tor. Otherwise, you might lose kind of like your objectivity. You might miss something. Yeah. 3i Atlas glowing. Very interesting, Ben. Thank you, Phuket. That's Phuket. English TK says here on 3i Atlas is glowing. A new view. Hello, English TK. Welcome. No, I don't get it. I thought aliens are here and coming and going all the time. So who cares about this one that NASA admits about? You are just a contradiction as you haven't thought this through. Do a video about one particular fish in a sea of fish. Why? I don't get it. English, did I not explain in the video? I thought I explained this in the video, and I certainly explained on the following live stream. Okay, it's the answer to this is very simple. It matters, you may think, well, what does one more craft mean? Because aliens are coming here all the time. So it's a contradiction to care about one more craft that NASA admit. No, the reason is that if this turns out to be the real thing, the government can't cover it up. And what they're going to do? Put a fence around it and get rid of the decisive evidence and replace it with a weather balloon? This is not Roswell. The flows of information are completely different. UFO crash retrievals are a strictly local affair. They're very easy to suppress. This is up in the sky where everyone can see it. And currently there are thousands of telescopes in every observatory, even some of the more sophisticated amateur astronomers with large enough equipment, powerful enough telescopes, are watching this thing. If it does something specifically alien, they won't be able to cover it up. It will be a catastrophic disclosure moment. That's why this is why it's so important. This is why there's no contradiction, none at all. And it will, of course, have a knock-on effect on the rest of ufology. It will literally be a catastrophic disclosure event. So I hope that clarifies my position. But do watch the live stream, because I think I explained this in more detail in the live stream. Right, I put my own comment on Warminster 50. I've just come home from the 60th anniversary conference. We have close quarters by on 3i Atlas is glowing. Hello, close quarters by. I think are you new? Have I seen you before? Ahoy, matey! Ahoy, matey! I find this object extremely interesting. Having read the latest NASA info, it appears 3i Atlas is surrounded by water vapor and pumping out CO2 molecules. All right. No, this is what's weird, close quarter. It's not surrounded by water vapor, or very little. And it's pumping out lots of carbon dioxide, loads of it, and nickel on its own without iron. That's what's interesting. Are we witnessing a life maker as it goes by? If it slams into a planet with the right primitive atmosphere, it could spark the creation of life itself. Isn't that what scientists believe happened to our own planet, which ultimately led to us? They do. They even said that cometary impacts might have brought the building blocks of life to Earth. Yeah. But there could be. I mean, that's very Arthur C. Clarke of you to suggest that. I've not thought of it before. And it doesn't need to slam into a planet, though. I mean, just having a planet within its coma is enough. Now, I think it's going to pass close enough to Mars that Mars will actually be within the coma. So maybe it's going to try and seed Mars with life. You never know. I mean, that's a very interesting idea indeed. It's very sort of monolith. It's a very, very good idea. No doubt this will inspire science fiction authors, isn't it? 3i Atlas Telescope live stream. Jungle Surfer TV. Space is small. I thought it was non-existent. Now it's small. Oh, mummy, you're backing off a bit. Jungle Surfer, you are backing off, mate. You're mellowing. Now space is small. It was not non-existent. God, next thing you know, you'll be like James Randi. 3i Atlas Space Telescope live stream. Dave Langston says you can bet the black military will know exactly what it is and its purpose, if any. Probably. I mean, the secret space program probably has craft in that area right now, monitoring it. Yeah, probably. 60QJ5 says, do I dare say first? Maybe. Mind you, the 15th of August 1977 was a long time ago, wasn't it, Mr. Wow Signal? So maybe not. Sorenable, hello. Welcome back. He just has a heart emoji. Welcome back, Sorenable. I'm glad you're watching me again. Donna Pierce. All right, I know Donna Pierce from other media. Again, live Space Telescope live stream. I forgot about my neighbour's pickup appointment at the hospital. I did make it in the nick of time, but felt absolutely awful for forgetting. I cooked up the quickest carbonara in history. She thinks I'm wonderful. Hey, Donna, well, that's great. Well, and what's more, you got to watch my live stream as well. Yeah. Neil Peel says, Ben's got a good lullaby voice. I never get to the end as I doze off, just as he gets into the crucial info. Well, good job. Good job. You can always watch the recording, Neil. Yeah. You did mention that a lot of people go to sleep listening to me, actually. Yeah, it must be soothing. 3-Eye Atlas is glowing. Over the moon. Here we go. Elon Musk talks SpaceX starships. Oh, wow. Potential to transform space exploration in this new update. All right. It's going to be interesting.
I've got some special guests crashing the webcast today. Joining me now in Star Factory, Elon Musk.
Nuke Mars? Oh, my goodness me. Oh, dear. This is the launch.
Chief Engineer at SpaceX. Bill Riley, our VP of Starship Engineering. Thanks for being here, guys. I know we got a rocket about to get off the pad.
Oh, right. Well, I'll have to watch this later, I think, guys. But thanks very much. That's very... Why Nuke Mars? Elon is saying Nuke Mars. Oh, dear. Is that the potential to transform, is it, by dropping nuclear bombs on Mars? Well, according to some people, it's already been nuked. Do you remember there's this study they've discovered? Is it xenon-238 or something? It's a particular substance that only occurs in nuclear explosions on Earth that we know of. And if there is a natural process that creates xenon-238, we don't know. We don't know what it is. Darren says here on CTD copyright free, third or fourth, whatever. Never mind. Mentioning dispatches. You were second. Oh, sorry. Silver tinfoil hat for Darren. Probe Autumn 2017. First, says Crafty Nihilist. I don't think you got the first comment on an 8-year-old video, Crafty. Sorry. I don't think you did. But right, I appreciate the effort. Okay, here we go. Right. Oh, nothing as it seems says on CTD copyright free. Ben, regarding your statement that you think Americans are more naive than most nationalities, South Korea, 86% see climate change as a major threat. United Kingdom, 80% consider climate change a major threat. Germany, 80%. France, 80%. Australia, 69%. United States, 59%. All right, well, seems I misjudged the Americans in the same way that many people misjudge me. Nothing as it seems. Definitely. Dave Langston says, where did you get those statistics from? Fair question. Red Snapper. They control what people believe and what they don't. Americans still having guns and not believing in climate change does not mean it's an organic. Nothing that seems says Pew Research. Right. Lab-based. Those stats confirm Ben's statements. Climate change is happening and is a major global threat. The question only is how bad is it going to get due to the lack of preventative or adaptations countries are investing in. The US is being so insular rather than naive, might feel they will be insulated from the worst effects, whereas other countries listed may feel they're more at risk. Australia, for example, may feel less likely to face harmful effects as it's well used to extremes. However, this is the naive view to take. Well, lab-based, I don't agree with you about climate change, but then I tend to, maybe I saw this on a bit simplistically as a sort of one dimension, like a one-axis graph, where, people who disbelieve in it are less naive, or maybe not. Maybe there's another way of looking at it. Dave Langston, lab-based. I'll ask again, where did you get those stats from? Oh, so he's asking lab-based and nothing as it seems for stats. Did you just make them up or from a checkable source? The IPCC report declares there's no evidence of a climate emergency in the main body of the report, yet the political summary states we're all going to die horribly. All right. You've been watching that bloody, what's his name, McPherson, haven't you? That doomer. And he also says here, Lab-based says, not my stats, asked the original poster. As for IPCC report, it makes it clear that climate change is a reality with evidence-based science. Nobody's making any claim we're all going to die horribly as a result. But, oh, she was joking, Lab-based. Okay. But we're already seeing increased deaths as a direct result. Hottest summer on record in the UK this year. Not scaremongering, actual tangible evidence, as others might say. All right, it's evidence that the climate is changing, yes, Lab-based. But the question is, can we stop it, and are we the cause of it? Those are the two questions. Lab-based. As regards the IPCC report and the suggestions of no emergency, you should perhaps have a better read of at least the headline of the document. I would direct you to the section C2, C2 and B1, C1, C2 and B1, quote, there's a rapidly closing window of opportunity to secure a livable and sustainable future for all very high in all very high confidence, unquote. Yeah, Lab-based, they've been saying that since about 2005, though. I mean, is this window actually going to close at some point? Quote, climate change is a threat to human well-being and planetary health. Very high confidence. Some future changes are unavoidable and or irreversible, but can be limited by deep, rapid and sustained global greenhouse gas emission reductions. The likelihood of abrupt and or irreversible changes increases with higher global warming levels. Similarly, the probability of low likelihood outcome associated with potentially very large adverse impacts increases with higher global warming levels, high confidence, unquote. Right, Lab-based. So are you saying we need a state of emergency to save the planet? Temporary, of course. And then when it is over, the government will stand up on a podium and declare with one voice that the power we have taken from the people, we will return to the people. Really? Dave Langston says to Lab-based. The synthesis report, not actual data, though. You're quoting the political summary. The actual data does not show this. If you read section 12, I think that's where the actual data science is. In fact, it also states no evidence there as well. Lab-based. Yes, the data is in the document presented. No room here for that. But feel free to show me the data in the report that contradicts what is stated by the scientists who interpreted the data. Scientists use data to determine outcomes which are presented in a format non-climate scientists can understand and all agree. Yes, it's political. It's a global document, brackets. Hence the report having to issue confidence ratings rather than definite statements. By the way, the synthesis report is essentially a condensed, though still huge brackets, document of all the evidence. Lab-based also says, I'll respond again just to reinforce and confirm in a simple way, as simply a way as possible for you. Ooh, Lab-based. That's a veiled insult there. I didn't post the stats. Ask and direct your question to the original poster. Nothing as it seems. Lab also says, I'm quoting from the 6 IPCC report, AR6 synthesis report headlines section extracted from the full volume section, not the political summary. By the way, I don't know what you're reading, but the latest IPCC report doesn't have a section 12. So feel free to link. Right, that is the end of that conversation. Mind you, it only ended 6 hours ago, so it might be continuing, which I'll cover it before. Right, Ginskin Pivot said, is the sting in the tail. He just 15 hours ago, he said, quote, Area 51 was, brackets, exclamation mark, a secret base that no one ever talked about then, and today you can go to Las Vegas and get a tourist bus and go there. I'm hoping to do that myself soon. You should go to Area 51 on the tourist trail at Las Vegas. They have books on it in the Tourist Information Center, and people all over the world go on this bus to visit Area 51, unquote. No. Yes, Jin, I've been on it, and there's a video called Meadows where you can see me going on it. Anyway, he carries on. The tour is for the UFO nuts and visits their rather manufactured UFO trail, gift shops, the famous black mailbox, and other commercial enterprises. They'll probably show you the school buses the Area 51 employees use, and you might see the unmarked civilian jets LA International. Area 51's first perimeter warning signs is as close as you'll get. All right. Again, you use the word UFO nuts, but they are... You're nitpicking here because UFO nuts are a form of tourists. I was one myself. All right. I was one myself. And yes, I didn't go to all the things there, but I did go to the Little Alien when there was like a gift shop and things like that. And I did see the Janet Airlines that take off, not from LA, from Las Vegas. But they don't go to LA. They do go. I'll tell you this: the Janet planes go to various places. They don't go to Los Angeles, but they do go to they do go to the Lockheed Skunk Works. There's an airbase there where they land. Yes, Area 51's perimeter warning signs are as close as you can get. That's true. If you try going any closer, you'll get arrested and you risk being shot. So please don't do it. As I said when I did the coverage for the Storm Area 51 fiasco, I've just done an article about that, by the way. I've just reviewed the Netflix documentary. Let me just show it to you. Here we go. There we go. It's called Trainwreck Storm Area 51, and I've done a review there, which you can go and read it if you like. So, Jin, I don't know. I'm not. This is weird because you haven't actually said anything that contradicts me in this quote. So, the only way you contradict me is you believe that the people you call UFO nuts, which includes myself, cannot be defined as tourists, and I disagree. Sweeps Fox says here on CTD copyright free. Righto, I gave you the 13th thumbs up, matey. Unlucky for some, but not for us. I've covered so much of this in my blogs, as you must know. However, I'm still going to go through this longish video completely ASAP to see what you've missed out. Ruffle. Thanks. Well, be my guest, Sweeps. Be my guest. Please feel free to comment. Right. Alan McBride. Oh, my goodness me. Hello again, Alan. I haven't seen you for a while. I smell phonies. Skeptics, my backside. We are the skeptics. They are the cynics. Right. It's interesting. That's an interesting way you put it, because indeed, many people have actually made this point when they were even live in the audience when I did my skeptic talks. And again, we're talking about definitions here, and I do go into the reason I choose that definition. The reason I choose that definition when I'm actually doing the talks. I kind of use that definition almost as a kind of act of convenience, really. Thanks for the comment there. Bexley Heath UFO, part 3 of Floor. Carol Griggs. My sister's childhood friend witnessed this back in 1955. There's more online to look up about it now. I expect you're well aware of that. Well, you know, Carol, thanks for the comment. That's a great comment. I haven't actually, to be honest, I haven't actually looked at this since I made this video, and I will do so. But could you email me, actually? Please email Benny J. This is my public email. I'd like to know more about your childhood friend. Okay, so bennyj74@gmx.co.uk. Carol, could you get in touch? I'd like to know more about your childhood friend who witnessed it back in 1955. Right, see this. Right, I don't have to click the timestamp. I talked about the way that skeptics and woo-woos change our minds. Can you give an example of a Paulian conversion? Does that ever really happen? Now let's just explain what I'm talking about here. Okay, just so we know what I'm talking about. It's when someone very suddenly goes from one extreme to the other. Right, here we go. Conversion of St. Paul the Apostle, right. It refers to let me see. All right. Yeah, here we go. It's in the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 9. As he was on the road to Damascus on his journey, this is Paul they're talking about here. Suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice say to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? Saul was Paul's original name. Who are you, Lord? Saul asked. I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting, he replied. Now get up and go into the city, and you'll be told what you must do. The men traveling with Saul stood there speechless. They heard the sound, but did not see anyone. Paul got up from the ground, but when he opened his eyes, he could see nothing. So they led him by the hand into Damascus. For 3 days he was blind and did not eat or drink anything. Now, what this refers to is what happened was the conversion of St. Paul was instantaneous. So Paul was Saul the accuser. He was basically the person who hunted down and killed Christians, dragged them off to Rome to be fed to the lions for the amusement of the audience and things like that. And then as he's walking along the road to Damascus, Suddenly he just has this incredible transcendental experience and contact with God. And when when this ends, he is a completely different person. They give him a new name, St. Paul the Apostle, and he becomes a Christian, and he becomes a defender of Christians. Now, that literally happened in an instant. I've never heard of that happening with real people. All I've ever heard is processes described by people like Brent Lee, and indeed others who were skeptics and who have become woo-woos like Matthew Williams and Richard D. Hall, etc. And even myself up to a point. I mean, I've never been a complete skeptic, but I did go through a kind of Dawkinsian atheist phase when I was in my late teens. But my journey down this rabbit hole was slow, and it was in stages, and that's how it seems to be with most people. And indeed, the journey out of the rabbit hole, should you take it, is the same way. So no, I can think of no example of a Paulian conversion. Right, I'm now going to go to my notifications and see if there are any notices. Anyone has actually put up any comments while I've been filming this video, because usually you get a couple. Let's have a look. I've got 9 notifications. Right. Let's go through them. Slapped Ham. Not My Rabbit Hole, Terry Joyce. Jeremy Corbell uploaded. Right. The Basis Project uploaded. Okay, it appears I have no comments. Yeah, the last one was the one I just read. So I'm just going to refresh the community page just to be certain. I'll also go to the health. I actually liberated all the spam before I began. I do that out of habit. I'm just going to double check by refreshing the community page. And yeah, indeed, the last one was Red Snapper. And I'll just click the hell just to see if there's anything in spam, and there's not. Right, so that's the end of this particular video. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much, everyone. It goes without saying that without your comments, this video wouldn't happen. They've all been really cool. Even some of the rude ones were amusing, and the challenging ones. You know, there's some of you have been challenging me and disagreeing with me vehemently. Great. It's all part of the fun. It's all part of what makes this video happen. So thank you for all of my detractors and my skeptics. Appreciate that as well. So what's coming up? Well, there's going to be no video for a while, probably about a week, maybe more, because I'm going to be away. I'm going to, as I've mentioned before, the Dorset Earth Mysteries group, which I'll be there for just 2 days. But then I'm coming back, and then when I come back, I'm going to do something a lot more mundane. I'm actually going off for a residential job just outside Oxford, also just on the outskirts of Oxford. So I will not be able to do any videos or anything like that there, because I'll basically be working. It's actually quite an easy job. All I've got to do is look after the dog, do some housework, and primarily security. That's my duty in this residential job, and that's going to last. I'm going to be doing that for 4 days. So I'll be back Tuesday evening from that. So basically in a week's time, when I will upload my Dorset Earth Mysteries video or whatever, unless something else happens, I'll upload a video or do something around that time on the Tuesday or Wednesday next week. And then I'm off to the Day for Freedom in London as well on the 13th. So I'll be covering that. But that will be an Old Tech exclusive. But I'll put a notice on YouTube for that. One of my usual sarcastic ones. So I hope you'll enjoy those. Lots of other things planned as well. So stay tuned. And don't forget, I'm going to go to the next. There was also the Alt Tech exclusive reply to comments video. There's the Alt Tech Annex, which won't be on YouTube. So I'm actually going to go and record that now. So don't forget to sub to me on Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute to watch that. Thank you all of you for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids, psyops, saucers and black triangles, HPANWO.